Hello there, and welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga Show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and this is episode number 667. 667 of the Agostinho Zinga Show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and I hope you are doing well wherever this podcast may find you. I hope you are doing swimmingly. I really, really do. That's my only hope for you right now, is that you're doing amazing, because you know what? I'm doing absolutely splendid today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. My back's still a little bit tight from the past couple of days, but I've done some sit-ups and stuff, and now I've decided that I need to go out and start running again like I was doing before, because I think that is what really helped me keep my back strong, and it also allowed me to kind of get my lumbar spine nice and tight because of my form and because of the pose running stuff that I was doing and CrossFit running, and the emphasis on making sure that you are bouncing on the balls of your feet, aka the toes of your feet. All of those things were really, really important to make sure that I was running the right way. And obviously doing sit-ups as well. I've got an ab mat somewhere here I should show you, but also the ab mat needs to help, because at the moment my back is still feeling a little bit tight, a tiny bit tight. And this is a warning, fair warning to everybody out there. If you're listening to the Agostinho Zinga Show and you're right here listening to me right now, and you sometimes go to the gym, this is a warning for you and a heads up. Please take my advice. Usually when I go to gym, I'm not sure if you guys are the same, but usually when I go to the gym, here's what I do. When I go to the gym, I get all my stuff. I get all my, usually I use the squat rack. That's usually my go-to place, because on the squat rack, if the platforms are not free, I can do a deadlift, I can do overhead presses, I can do back squats, right? I can do all these things all on one sort of rack. I can do it all there. So what I usually do is I usually get all my plates and I stack them all next to my squat rack. So I usually have my 20 plates, 20 kg plates, 10 kg plates, a 5 plate. Usually those are the 3 plates that I use when I'm going out to the flipping gym, right? And I have doubles of those, obviously, to put on either side of the barbell. So sometimes, because I'm so organized and I know what I'm doing, I think people take it for granted. They take it for granted that I'm organized and I kind of know what I'm doing, and I'm a bit of a ninja. I go into the gym, I'm in and out. I'm not one of those guys that loves to hang around. I'm not on my phone. I always plug on a flipping mix, or I'll put on my songs that I've downloaded on my phone on shuffle, because the gym usually has terrible internet and terrible Wi-Fi, so my Spotify or Apple iTunes will always skip. So I'll download a playlist and just run it on skip, or whatever, maybe, sorry, on shuffle, so I don't have to touch my phone anymore. I don't like touching it at all, only maybe until the end of the set, but I like just to kind of focus on my set. Anyway, long story shorter, I usually get on my plates and put them next to the squat rack, and I think what happens, right? I honestly think what happens is that people see my plates all nicely lined up. They usually go, because I'm a bit of an OCD freak with the flipping numbers and shit, and how I stack my books, as you can see. I usually have them from the biggest weight all the way up until the smallest weight. So they're stacked up nicely on the side, all the way from the biggest to the smallest. And people just come by mine and think, you know what, let me just pick yours up, your 5 plate or your 10 plate, because the template that I want is underneath 20, flipping 25 kg plates. So they'd rather just get mine. Whereas I've made the effort to get mine out from that flipping pile to put there. So, word of caution to everybody that goes to the gym. If ever you're in a gym and you prepare your weights, you stack them all next to you, and someone tries to take it off you to go and use it on their own, say, I'll only use it for a little bit, don't let them use it. It's a really cunty thing. It'll make you look like a bit of a cunt, and everyone's gonna, they're gonna give you eyes, or they might kiss their teeth. But what happened? The reason why my back is tight, is because I had all my plates stacked up. I was, I think, pulling, I don't know how much I was pulling, a decent amount of weight, and then I was going up in 5 kg increments. Then this guy said, hey, can I take your 10, please? Right? So he took my 10. And then I only had to go up, now I had to go up a 10 kg increment. Or no, basically, yeah, I had to go up a 10 kg increment. But I usually like to work my way up. And then because I had to go up to the 10k or a 15k, plate, it essentially caused my back to spasm because I hadn't worked up to it. I had to kind of skip a step. So that guy taking my plate was responsible for my back flipping getting tight. Honestly, I swear it. It's not my fault that I didn't maybe, have correct form, that I didn't wear a belt, that I maybe wasn't paying attention. No. It's not my fault. It's that guy's fault for picking up my flipping template, saying he's gonna give it back, not giving it back. Then I'm having to put a flipping 15 on there on the barbell, and then I pull and I go, ugh, cause I like my noises. Like what? Yeah, all that shit. I love all that stuff, right? I did that, and then guess what happened? My back went. My back started making Bert Kreischer laugh noises. And then I was in a wheelchair. Then I couldn't walk. That's what my back started doing. And then I had to take an Uber home from the gym because I couldn't walk. Like, that's what my back did. Because somebody took my flipping template. I swear on my life, that is my life. So, if anybody out there listens to me and you give a crap about what I have to say, I don't talk a lot of sense. I usually ramble. This is the whole point of the show. Agostinho rambles about. This is the whole premise of the show. It's me rambling. So, if there is something I should say that's kind of clear, that is it. Don't let anybody take your place. Okay? Similar to like an interview, like Joe Rogan in the UFC. When he's letting people interview him in the ring, right? One of the cardinal sins you're not meant to do as an interview, which I only found out because Rogan and the UFC, you're never meant to let someone take the mic off you. But I think he allowed it once for Israel and a few other people here and there. But usually you should always hold the mic because you're always in control of the interview. And I think it's the same thing in the gym. Always be in control of your plates. Always. Anyways, big up everybody tuning in live. If you're watching this live, I appreciate every single one of you in the chat. Smash that like for me. Of course, the standard YouTube stuff. Everybody in the chat now, I appreciate you for hanging in there live with me. It's much appreciated. Big up Severa Design, who asked me, should have wore your thick boy gear? Yeah. Imagine me pulling up to a gym wearing thick boy. If there's one person in this world that you should know who has no kind of pride or who takes no satisfaction in being a bigger dude, it's me. I hate it because I'm into fashion. I like wearing clothes, and most of the clothes I like wearing are from very highfalutin European brands, and they don't cut, stuff for like guys who are 36 waist up. They like you to be slavette. They want you to be lean and thin. So I've been indoctrinated to believe that the European flipping standards of beauty and fitness are the top pinnacle level of what a guy should look like. So if there's one guy who doesn't want to be big, it's me. Even though my body, when I do put it under severe strains of weight, I put on muscle and like pounds and volume very easily. So I find it very difficult body-wise, like my shape kind of takes on muscle a lot easier. Like my shoulders fill out, my arms get big and shit. Like my arms are super massive right now. Like I hate that. So I have to work to kind of get that down. Like my ass is looking like fucking Serena's. I mean, I'm pulling a fucking Megan Thee Stallion right now. When I'm running out in the street, I see my ass looking twerking in the fucking window as I'm running past the shots. I'm thinking, God damn. I mean, I look like bloody Ned Flanders in The Simpsons. Nothing at all. You know what I mean? When Homer had that little pic, when he was picturing what Ned Flanders would look like in a ski suit. That's what I look like. My little bum. I got like, when I'm running down the street, I look at those girls that wear those Amazon leggings. I mean, my flipping my cheeks are just like, I mean, they're just doing da 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 da. So I want to get rid of that. I don't want that, man. I don't want that wagon. I want to get rid of my wagon. But yeah, big up Uche. Yeah, Uche, no, I cycle outdoors. Funny you should ask that. I actually got, what did I get here? Oh, where is it? Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I recently got, I don't have it here, but yeah, I cycle outdoors, Uche. I've got a little fixed gear bike that I've been riding all the time. So usually I do a pretty decent mileage, I kind of do a little 6 miler. So recently, it's a bit of a mad one because there's this place in London called Brick Lane Bagels. There's this bagel shop in Brick Lane, which is a very cool place over here in London where they do some really nice bagels and shit. And sometimes if I want to have a cheat day, I'll cycle from where I'm at all the way until where the bagel shop is. And the bagel shop is like 6 mile ride. back and forth and stuff. And I've done that a couple of times. It's been pretty nice. So it's kind of a good way to kind of like, punish myself, because I'm a glutton for punishment and I love a good reward. So if I really do want to have a pig out day and have some carbs and go a bit crazy with some bagels filled with flipping tuna mayo and sweet corn and a flipping salmon and cream cheese flipping bagel. If I want that niceness, I have to jump on my fixed gear bike and ride all the way to this flipping place in Brick Lane and pick up a flipping bagel. And it's been pretty decent, I'm not going to lie. The journey is kind of brutal, I'm not going to lie also, but I do kind of like, cycling all the way there. You can kind of see a little bit of the cycle here on my flipping phone, on my Strava, that kind of shows me going across the city to pick up this bagel like I'm a flipping long distance Deliveroo rider. But I've really, really enjoyed that cycling. Cycling's been really good, but my number one love is always running. But because of the pandemic, I kind of got into flipping going to the gym more than running. I guess because the gyms were closed for so long, when the gyms finally opened up, I was like, oh my God, I have to go gym. So I kind of switched running for the gym. And now it's been really hard to get back outside and run. Like now I get why a lot of these guys that go gym and have like really skinny legs and big upper bodies, because going to gym, even though it's hard, it's way easier than running. Running is so difficult. And at the peak that I was running at, I was doing easily between like 15 to 25 miles a week. So I was running at least 4 times a week. I'd have a long run on Sundays like most runners do. I was doing races every other month or so. I did Barcelona half marathon. I did a half marathon in Bristol. I did a half marathon in London, Hackney half. I did a Westminster mile. I did a Berlin half marathon. Like I've done quite a few of these things, right? And I actually do them a lot. And I actually meant to do one in Copenhagen, actually, which I need to kind of get back on. So I'll be training and then having the races as being my kind of thing to do at the end of the time. But running is one of those things where if you stop doing it, to get back on it is very difficult. It really is. I really do tell you this is honestly hard, especially if you're carrying a little bit of extra weight that I am. Like with this extra muscle and fat that I now have, when I go and run outside, I can feel it. Like it takes a while to kind of get back into my stride, but I can feel that extra flipping weight that I'm kind of carrying. But, in order for me to become lean, that usually is the best option to kind of marry the two things up, to do like, weights and whatever. I wish there are some guys out there who can lose weight by just working out and doing like weights and stuff. I wish I was that guy. I really do wish I was that guy. It's like the same guys who are out there who can eat pasta and bread and shit and be super skinny, but I can't. I eat that stuff. It goes to my cheeks. It goes to my forehead. It goes to my bum. Do you know what I mean? It's going there straight away. There's no way this ain't going. You're seeing the results of that flipping bread and that flipping rice and shit. Even though I don't eat a lot of that stuff, but all that stuff is going to me. So the only thing I can do is obviously run to kind of get that stuff off. And at the moment, I'm mixing up and stuff. And it'll be easier if I was working in a place that would like, now I'm doing a lot of like flipping part-time work here and there, right? Mostly like online stuff, like social media and all that malarkey and customer service, marketing, all that shit that I've got experience in. But what I found really helpful that I kind of took for granted was a commute to work. I think a lot of people are the same. I think that commute to work, honestly, it really kind of stressed you out. Or just work overall, like going to a physical location where you had to go and work was really important for me to kind of look the best that I did in my life. I swear to God. It's going to happen again this summer. I'm going to be looking for absolutely fleek. You're going to see it happening in real time. Speaks up into action. I'm putting it into action. But those times where I was a flipping 32 waist back in the retail days or office days, why was that the case? Because guess what? I was working Monday to Friday in an office, in a shop, wherever I was working. And I had essentially, if you count a work day, that's maybe 8 hours that you're working. Either side of that, there's an hour commute. So that basically equals up to 10 hours. So 10 hours out of the 24 of your day is already allocated to work. That doesn't include sleeping, showering, shitting, pissing, going out with your friends and stuff. It doesn't include that. Already 10 hours is gone. And for someone like me who kind of, is kind of time selfish and likes to do my own thing and stuff, I really wanted to make sure that I kind of made the most out of the time I had before work and after work. So I'd be training in the morning, then if I'd go to work, I may train again in the evening, or sometimes like a psycho, I would work out in the morning, go to the gym, go to work, and then take my running gear with me, and then I'd run home on the way home and stuff, which is wild because usually I've always lived in the same area, and wherever I work is usually kind of in the center of London, and I kind of live way outside of that. So I'm having to run like, 5 miles plus back home and stuff. But that stuff like, you know, 3 times a week at least, on top of riding a bike, on top of skating all the time, on top of, you know, whatever I was doing, running around town, that all adds up. But now I think in this post-pandemic world, we're all living in this kind of, we're all kind of freelancers in a way. Everyone's a freelancer. Everyone's kind of either, you know, working, because I got some friends who are doing the whole, like, you know, delivery stuff. They're working for Amazon. They're doing, you know, Uber Eats. They're doing flipping Deliveroo. So that stuff is basically freelance because you make your own hours. You got people working from home on a laptop like I am. You got people doing part-time at bars and stuff. So people's need to be in a physical location at one point, or going to somewhere, isn't really there. So I feel like for me, my discipline has kind of waned. It's kind of gone on the bad side. Even though I've got quite good self-discipline, I think I've got decent willpower, I think I'm quite driven. Because of those guardrails I had in terms of work, that was kind of, you know, it was there, and because I, you know, I wanted money, so I sacrificed my time. It kind of made me really use the time I had available really well. Because I knew, okay, cool, you've got 10 hours out of the day that's already taken away from work. You can't take that back. Now you have to do something before and after work. And then that's what kind of made it make sense. And that's also maybe the reason why I kind of got a little bit crazy with the partying and going out a little bit too much, and kind of not really doing what I was meant to be doing, because I had too much free time. I think even beforehand, even though I was partying a lot too, I was working a lot too, because I had to kind of keep the balance. And, you know, you had responsibilities. You had to go to work on Mondays. You couldn't call in sick and shit. That wasn't a thing. You know, nowadays people are calling in sick. They're taking mental health days. Like, it's crazy. The whole work life has changed and shifted. But one thing I want to point out that I really find it interesting is this thing, right? I've had a couple of places that I've applied for, and I really want to ask this out loud, like, or aloud. I've had these places I've applied for, like, do little part-time stuff, you know, little customer service things here and there, and like online mostly, whatever it may be. And a lot of these places will be like, hey, answer this question, like, do like a kind of like answer a question, like as if our customer was inquiring about something. You have to answer like how you would think they would want it to be answered or something. And there's maybe three questions you have to answer. Then of course there's the flipping dumb answer about, why do you want to come and work for us? And you're like, you just want to write there like, I need money. I want to buy Supreme. You know, like, you just want to write there, I want to buy Supreme. I want to buy some cool trainers. I want to pay for my flights to Berlin, whatever it may be. You just want to write an honest answer, but you have to make up some lie because I'm passionate about whatever nonsense. But I'm wondering, what is that kind of feeling in the pit of your stomach when somebody asks you a question? No, when somebody asks you to send examples of your work, or to fill in a box or something, or a questionnaire. Why do we instinctively as humans, I know I do, go like, nah, fuck that? Why is it? Because it makes sense why they're asking. If it's a role that requires a very specific set of skills, it's probably beneficial for them not to waste each other's time and be like, hey, can you actually do the job? Can you show us that you could do the job? Then you go through it and then they can make the decision based on that regard. But why do we, I've known with me, whenever I see those replies back, I'm like, or I'm not wasting my time, quote unquote, working for free or filling in answers just to kind of get an opportunity to get to the next round. And you're like, nah, we're not interested. I'm going to get somebody else. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because there's too many options. Maybe there's a sense of ego there, a sense of pride. You feel like you're being sunned. I don't know what it is, but there's something intrinsic in me. Whenever I get a reply back from a workplace that says, hey, can you, answer these questions? Give us an example of how you would speak to customers, or show us what you would do. How could we improve our social media? Give us this. It's like, brother, come on, man. Come on. I wonder what that's about with humans. I really, really do wonder why we do that. For myself, I just can't handle it, bro. I can't. You know what I mean? I'd rather not fill out those answers than fill out those questions. I'd rather just leave it and just kind of keep it moving and try try my luck somewhere else. But I also know the majority of people won't answer it. So if you actually answer those questions, you might actually get the job, because most people will fall off. Like, I'd imagine like the number of people that apply for roles where you just have to attach your CV is super high, right? But then the more you start asking questions, the more people drop off. So if you just keep answering them towards the end, you may be one of the last ones standing, and you just might get it because you're just the only one available, and they need someone, a body to fill. Who knows? I don't know, man. Yeah, exactly. Aria and privilege. Give me job. I want to buy me drugs. Give me job. I want to go out. Give me job. I want to go cinema. Give me job. I want girlfriend. I want boyfriend. Give me job. I need haircut. Yo, honestly, that's it. Give me job. Give me job. I need to uncrust my crusty toes. But yeah, big up everybody in the stream chat. I appreciate every single one of you. This is amazing. Quick on before we progress to the show. Can we please make sure, if you're a fan of what I do and you want to check out some of my stuff, or just check out some of my stuff, not if you're a fan of what I'm doing, I'm giving you an instruction. Go to my website. I have a couple of new pictures that I've uploaded on there recently. So if you would do me the pleasure and taking a look, that would be greatly appreciated. My website is URL standard, you know where it's going to be, www.agostinozinga.com. So please check that out if you haven't already. Let me get rid of this chat box here. So please check that out if you haven't already. It's got all of my stuff on there that if you want to see the stuff that I kind of get up to and whatnot. I've got a couple of new pictures in terms of photography that I've done under the photography tab. So just scroll, you'll find some nice little bits and bobs of moi back in the day, nicely composed and whatnot. Epic 35mm photography there from your boy. And I'm sure some of you, if you've been to Bali, would recognize some of these locations also, and some other bits and bobs there as well. Fuerteventura as well. Please check it out if you haven't. My photography available on my website, which is agostinozinga.com/photography. You can find some of those beauties over there. I actually love this picture I took back in the day. I actually love this, with this lovely lady here in the foreground, and then I Feel Love back there in the background. That looks amazing. And of course, you got there 3 generations of Zinga as well. Big up the bros. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please do. It's available now on my site. It's all there. Check it out. It's there for you if you are that way inclined. Moving on from that one, I quickly want to mention this, and this is a really big one, and I want to say speedy recovery to this young man. This is regarding this tragic story, which I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen on your timeline and stuff. It's just popped up on mine. It's regarding this kid called Ralph Yarl. Andrew Lester, accused of shooting black teen, turned himself in. Get well soon to Ralph Yarl. I just learned through this article and a few other pieces that he's just returned home and left the hospital. So I'm hoping that he gets a speedy recovery, and he's there again for his family in any capacity whatsoever. This is such a tragic story, but I'll read it here for you. It says an 85-year-old man in the U.S. state of Missouri has turned himself in to police after shooting a teenager who mistakenly rang his doorbell. Andrew Lester was bailed after being charged with first-degree assault and armed action, both felonies. The white homeowner allegedly shot Ralph, 16, who's black, once in the head and once in the arm. The boy survived, and doctors say they have no idea how. Legitimately, this kid got shot in the head and the arm and somehow survived. Probably he has to thank the Lord Mighty that it was an 85-year-old, dude who clearly is kind of frail and maybe not in the right mental state to basically pick up a gun and aim and shoot. That probably was it. Or he just had, God's flipping protection over him, or whoever else you may believe in. So, speedy recovery to Ralph. It says prosecutors said that there was a critical component to the shooting. Mr. Lester has not been charged with a hate crime, and charging document do not describe any alleged racist bias. Of course it doesn't. He was released on Tuesday evening after posting a 10% of his $200,000 bail amount. Those are his parents there. It says the teenager told authorities he had mistakenly approached Mr. Lester's home last Thursday night to pick up his younger twin brothers, driving to Northeast 115th Street instead of Northeast 150th Terrace, which is 1 block away. After Ralph rang the doorbell, Mr. Lester shot him twice, once in the forehead and once in the arm. No words were exchanged before the homeowner opened fire with the .32 revolver, prosecutor says. Mr. Lester was not denied shooting the boy, telling authorities he believed he was protecting himself from confrontation. Prosecutors have said that Ralph did not cross the threshold of Mr. Lester's home. So this kid was what? Either outside on the door, down on the porch, but he was nowhere near, where you would deem it to be a threat, and he still shot him. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Police initially detained Miss Lester for questioning and released him without charges, sparking protest. Again, what do these officers do? How can you arrest somebody for this sort of crime and then release them? Like, on Monday, prosecutor Zachary Thompson announced Mr. Lester had been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. If convicted, he could face life in prison. Bloody hell, man. What an absolute idiot. Instead of just saying, hey, who's at the door, or just, you know, basically telling him to go away because it's got the wrong person, they decide to just pull out the gun and shoot. My issue with this, as per usual, is that sometimes in life it can be so disconcerting because you read these information, these bits and pieces, and you know the reason why this happened to this kid is because he was black. Essentially, this guy's got some sort of fear system in his heart that means that despite the statistics saying that most likely he's probably going to die at the hands of somebody that looks like him in terms of, you know, looks and in terms of skin color, as opposed to somebody that looks like myself, he still walks around this earth thinking that black people are somehow monsters and beasts and animals who at every corner could end his life in an instance. When, like I said, the statistics out there would illustrate that he's most likely going to get killed, if that was the case, by somebody that looks like him, aka a Caucasian white man. But for some reason, he walks around thinking we're the enemy. And in this case as well, considering it was a young kid, considering what the kid looks like and whatnot, there needs to be a degree of accountability, because I think somebody could sit here and argue and say, hey, if he's an older dude, he can't take any chances and think this kid is well-intentioned. He could think maybe this kid is like, you know, when people do like house robberies and they have somebody pull up who looks innocent and then you open the door and then the gang rolls in afterwards. That could be one of those two type of things. You could think that. But in this case, there needs to be some level of personal accountability, because I think after some conversation, you should be able to probably suss out, if as an 84-year-old, if the kid that's knocking on your door is a stick-up kid, or if he genuinely is there looking for his siblings, or if he's trying to give you a flipping pamphlet for his local church, he's trying to sell you some bloody cookies, whatever. You should be able to judge within a couple of seconds. If you're an older dude and you've been around long enough, you should be able to judge who's a bad kid, who isn't a bad kid. You should be able to. You shouldn't be coming out busting your gun as the first thing. It's absolutely insane. It reminds me a little bit of that South African, what's his name? That South African runner without the legs. The guy who's got the prosthetics, and he was charged of flipping killing his girlfriend. He had the same sort of thing. He alleged that, he heard his girlfriend coming in. Oh no, he assumed the person trying to come into his house was a burglar, and then when they entered his room, he didn't say a word and just started busting. And then, of course, he ended up killing his flipping wife. And then it transpired, during the flipping court proceedings, that he'd been trying to divorce her for a long time and blah, 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 blah. So clearly it was premeditated, and he took his opportunity then to do it. And at that time, nobody believed that flipping guy either. Yeah, Oscar Pistorius, no one believed him. So I don't think anyone should sit here and give this old dude the benefit of the doubt that he thought, oh, this kid was there to rob him. Nah, you should be asking questions. A kid comes, knocks on your door, shout through the door. My parents used to do that all the time. My parents used to hate answering the door. They'd always be shouting through it. And even when we were inside the house, my mom would do that. So the fact that this guy couldn't do that was absolutely heinous. And it's just another reminder of how incredibly difficult it is to navigate this world being a black person, especially being a black man. It's just one of those things you kind of have to always have in the back of your mind. And it kind of, not to kind of throw parallels because it doesn't make any sort of sense at all, but that's why sometimes you see stuff like happening to Jonathan Majors and what's happening to him, and you're just disappointed. You're like, you know what? When you're a black dude and you get put in position, you have to really, really be careful of how you move, and you have to also be aware that there are plenty of people out there looking to bring you down in any way, shape, or form, and any opportunity you give them to do so, they will take it. But I just think in some cases, when you're a kid, how old is this kid? When you're a flipping 16-year-old kid, you shouldn't really be walking around fearing for your life at every occasion, or basically having your head in a swivel. You should be trying to navigate through life pretty carefree, like every other 16-year-old who isn't black would do. But when you are black, you kind of have to have it in the back of your mind. Walking behind women, going into stores on your own with your hood up, walking in certain neighborhoods, people are just going to look at you differently. It's a really unfortunate part of life, but it really does happen often. Like, I can't count, legitimately. This might sound funny, but I'm not trying to be funny. I can't count the amount of times that I've walked behind women, or I've run behind them running sometimes, and they've screamed. I can't count. It's really beyond it's beyond any sort of a number that I can imagine right now of the instances that I've had where I've been running down the street, walking down the street, a woman hasn't been paying attention, and then she suddenly realizes I've made a mouth sound, or she hears my feet, and then turns around and screams. It happens so often that you don't take it personally anymore. You're not offended anymore. You don't feel anything. You just keep it moving. Usually I've got headphones on anyway, so whatever sorry or whatever thing they say, I don't even hear it, and I just keep it moving. But it happens all the time, like, and I'm sure most of it has to do with, women are smaller and frailer, and there's more opportunity for them to get, snatched and abused, and they can't have the benefit of doubt. But I swear to God, man, it happens all the time. Especially if I look like this, especially if I'm in my album mode, right? Album mode Agostinho. Especially I'm in album mode Agostinho with the beard and the hair the way it is, then honestly, the running that I see, especially when I'm out running, because I don't notice how flipping hard I'm flipping running and my feet are stomping on the ground and I'm like flipping Black Wings of Redemption running down the street, carrying all this extra flub. And then the woman behind, like in front of me, carrying a flipping shopping, going home, turns around and sees me, like, running. She's like, ah! I'm like, relax, man. I'm trying to flipping get my fucking mile run under 7 minutes. I'm trying to aim for, 7 minutes 50 or something, or I'm trying to get it under 7 minutes. I'm trying to get it under 8 minutes. I'm not running after you flipping lunatic. I'm not gonna just fucking snatch your H&M bag. Relax, Dorothy. Chill out, all right? I don't want your fucking baguettes. I'll buy my own baguettes, all right? But you're running around. It happens so often, and honestly, it's a thing you have to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Like, I've done it so often, especially being, looking the way that I look. You have a woman in front of you. She's walking to go to somewhere, I don't know, a block of flats, whatever it may be, and I'll let them walk in front of me. I'll literally let them walk in front of me. I'll literally stand there, let them walk in front of me. I'll grab my phone, I'll check it. Let them walk up the stairs, and then I'll kind of go after, because I don't want to be right behind them. Because sometimes you have girls do this thing where, like, you'll be a woman, you're behind, you're coming, you're walking in the same building, you're walking the same way, and they'll stop and let you walk in front, which is probably more offensive than screaming. I'm not gonna lie. That's more offensive than screaming. Like stopping and like going, yeah, no, you go. And let me walk in front. That's like, raw. What do you think I'm gonna do? Lift your fucking skirt up? Like kick you in the ass? Like try and fucking knee you or something? It's not that serious. Like just walk. I don't know. I'm not even paying attention to you. I'm literally not. But honestly, it happens so often. So you just have to kind of like not take it personally. Understand that it's coming from a self-preservation point of view, and it kind of is what it is. You speak to enough women out there, you hear some crazy stories about how they flipping get to feel. I think I always say it often, like one of my craziest revelations that I kind of find out about women was when I went to this house party once. You know me, I like to be the center of attention. I'm there holding court. I'm throwing out topics at the house party. Like I'm one of those type of guys, right? I'm at a house party. I'm throwing in would you rathers. I'm throwing in conversation piece. I'm saying, hey, do you see out on social media? I'm there. I'm holding court. So I remember holding court talking, and we start talking about what we like ordering on flipping delivery apps and shit. And then one girl's like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I haven't ordered a delivery app in ages. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, there's loads of delivery apps. Why wouldn't you order food? And she's like, oh, I live by myself. So I never order in when I'm eating by myself. I only order in if like my friends come over. I'm like, what? And I ask all the girls in the room, hold on. Do all the girls in here that live on their own, you never order delivery like a pizza to your house if you're by yourself? They're like, no. Because I'm afraid what may happen. Like, and then some other girls in the room, right? They were like, oh, no, when I do order at home, if I'm really hungry, I'll sometimes order like 2 meals to make it seem like somebody else is in the house. I'm like, no way. So yeah, I'll order 2 medium pizzas and get 2 drinks and 2 sides just so it looks like someone else is in there. I'm like, fuck. So if that's the case and you're a woman and you have to navigate through life like that, and then you hear me, my big beastly self running behind you, jogging, I kind of get it. I get it why you're scared. I get why you scream, because you shouldn't give me the benefit of the doubt. You don't know me, right? I could be fucking anybody, exactly. So, I understand the flipping fear and the flipping self-preservation side of it, and it is what it is. I don't take it personally in the slightest. So big up my women's out there. Big up my women's. Moving on from that one. Moving on. I quickly want to mention this. And I want to mention this only because I don't usually like to cover comedy stuff on the Agostinho Zinga show because I like to keep it separate for the random show. But we're going to cover this just to kind of give it a slight little tinkle. Slight little tinkle, right? Slight little tinkle. What do you guys think about this? For me personally, I feel like the American dream, and I feel like the American dream is like all encompassing, and it's also without borders. It's not only specific to America. I think most people have an idealized version, have a version of the American dream for themselves, right? White picket fence, dog, wife, partner, whatever it may be, right? Kids, whatever. Cool, right? But I think the advanced version of the American dream nowadays is how much can I get out of life without doing much. So basically, I want the most out of life by doing the bare minimum. That I think should be the American dream. And also, the American dream should be, I don't want to get better. I don't want to, have to improve myself or, study and read and become intellectual just so I can kind of put food on the table, live a somewhat comfortable life, whatever it may be. I just want to be who I want to be right now, in this moment, but then also have all the luxuries and privileges in life that kind of life can afford me. That's what I'd want. That's what I'd think the American dream is, in my opinion. But there are some people, like Brendan Schaub, who somehow has a weird way that he's navigated through it. Because this, to me, this example of this clip I'm going to play here is a legit funny clip, because I don't know if he's joking, and I don't know if he's being serious. But if he's being serious, he might be the dumbest person to ever walk the face of this earth. But he's also a multi-millionaire. But there's also a little hint, I feel like, in him where he wants to try and prove that he's smarter than what he is. So my question is, if you're Brendan Schaub and you're as dumb as he is, but you allegedly have 2 degrees, but you're also a multi-millionaire, and despite everybody thinking you're a piece of shit and you're a douchebag and you're a bully and you're a cheater and you're a liar, and all these labels, you still persevere. You're still somewhat successful. You still have a fan base. You still do what you want to do when you want to do it, which in my opinion is its own form of luxury. Why would you be trying to prove to people that you're smart or that you know what you're talking about? Why bother? Why bother? Why bother try and prove that you're smart or you know what you're talking about when you don't know what you're talking about and life has rewarded you? And this is a prime example of it. Please tell me in the chat, is Brendan Schaub joking or is he serious? What do you think? What do you think?
Right?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Wait, I just remembered what I wanted.
For you to recap, Brian sent a text.
Here's what's cool.
Like,
Did you see Ethan Hawke when Steve Colbert asked, he goes, Ethan Hawke, what happens when we die? It's his question. It's a question. He goes, what happens when we die? Bring up Ethan Hawke's answer. It's pretty cool.
It was awesome. I definitely saw it.
I fucking loved it.
do you do in the robot voice?
No, it's like you go, Ethan Hawke.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Brian Callen brings up a clip that went semi-viral of Ethan Hawke and Stephen Colbert giving some, esoteric nonsense, empty speak actor answer to the whole meaning of life thing on the spot, allegedly on the spot, clearly rehearsed, but everyone's kind of creaming their pants over it because Ethan Hawke is a pretty charismatic and a funny dude. My favorite cultural moment of Ethan Hawke is that picture of him sitting courtside at an NBA match, and I think the story goes that he's sitting there and I think his son has a seat that's next to Rihanna. And then I think this is Rihanna, umbrella time, umbrella, Rihanna's out there in the street. She's looking amazing. She's just coming out every flipping big cultural sporting event, looking crazy good and whatnot. She still looks great now, but, Rihanna at her flipping peak. And his son sitting next to Rihanna and he asks his son to swap seats so he can start spitting game to Rihanna. That's my favorite flipping Ethan Hawke moment culturally. Like, this flipping amazing. Anyway, he's a legend. Really good actor. Seems like a cool dude. They bring him up. They make this point. Oh, do you see that clip about Ethan Hawke? Brendan Schaub turns to Brian Callen and says, did he do it in that robot voice? He thought they meant Stephen Hawkings. When he said Ethan Hawke, he thought Stephen Hawkings, who's died many years ago, I think now, maybe 2018 or something. He's been dead a pretty long time. A long enough time that you shouldn't be thinking he's on still with Stephen Colbert last week. R.I.P. Stephen Hawkings. And he said, Stephen Hawke, did he do it in a robot voice? Is he being serious? Or is he joking? What do you think in the stream chat, please? And I'll play it one more time. Because I'm still not sure. I want to zoom into his face and see if he like smiles and does that thing that Brendan does where he kind of laughs at himself like, I'm so funny. Let's see.
Are we winning? Who did the leak? Did you see that thing I sent to our group chat?
Yeah. Tell the people what you sent. Right?
Yeah. It was pretty interesting. Wait, I just remembered what I wanted.
For you to recap, Brian sent a text.
Here's what's cool. Did you see Ethan Hawke when Steve Colbert asked? He goes, Ethan Hawke, what happens when we die? It's his question. It's a question. He goes, what happens when we die? Bring up Ethan Hawke's answer. It's pretty cool.
It was awesome. I definitely saw it.
I fucking loved it.
Do you do in the robot voice?
No, it's like.
What are people saying in the stream chat? What do you think? Is he serious? Smock said 100% he's being serious. He literally has no idea. Charles Lucas, LOL. Some guy, 1,000,000% he's being serious. Net Runner, Brenda, Chris Mack, he's lying. Brendan, professional comedian, professional comedian. Ariane Privilege, hilarious. Everyone knows Stephen Hawkings was putting on that phony robot voice to be posh. I love it. I am Sin, CTE, Smack, I knew it. He was dead serious. Uche, serious. Charles Luke, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. If that's the case, if we all think he's being serious, yeah, big up Piotr, big up. If we seriously redacted, if we think he's being serious, right? And I think he's being serious too, because you see, he's trying to follow the flow of the conversation. You see, Brendan always gets a little bit, when he feels a little bit inadequate and he feels like the conversation is passing him by, he'll start doing the left-right, like tennis type of thing, because obviously he's in the middle. He has to be the number one. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. I'm in the middle of the flipping show, blah, blah, which is weird. It really should be, not that this matters, but if you're going to do a podcast and you're going to have 3 people sitting down, facing the camera, I think to kind of make the show fresh, you should maybe switch where the quote-unquote lead, the A mic sits, based on the guest. So if you maybe have a better connection with the guest, maybe sit next to them because you can kind of, joke about more. And then the same goes for the other way around. Like, in this case, maybe Jay Larson and flipping Brian Callen get along better. Maybe this time have Brian sit in the middle. But Brendan has this little obsession and kind of thing about being always the guy in the middle and I'm the guy, I'm the boss. So it kind of is what it is. But he really was serious in this clip. He legitimately thought Ethan Hawking was flipping, Ethan Hawking. So even I'm getting it wrong. He thought Ethan Hawke was Stephen Hawking. Can you believe that? And I'm thinking that myself, I'm saying the American dream should be getting away with being completely redacted, but also making tons of money in the process. If that's the case, why are you bothered about looking dumb and just saying, hey, who's Ethan Hawke? Who's that again? Is that the robot voice guy? And they would have said, no, Brian, haha, it's actually Ethan Hawke. But because he pays everyone's bills, everyone's scared to say anything. No one wants to correct him. So they all kind of sit there silent and just kind of hope that he doesn't, he doesn't Chris Benoit the entire room. But if it was me, hey, big up Glass. Big up for the 499 super chat.
Thanks, folded hands, for all the cool content, man.
You know how we run. You know how we rule. Thanks for being here, Glass, because without people like you and without the rest of the stream chat, I would be no one. I would still be somebody, clearly, because I can talk myself to sleep in an empty room, but it helps to have some viewers. But anyway, back to the show. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I still think, on my life, I swear to God, I still think that it's actually quite amazing and pretty cool, and you should be kind of proud if you're Brendan, and you've basically, figured life out, monetarily wise, to get to this level, but you're legitimately like double-digit IQ, maybe single-digit IQ. That should actually be a point of pride. You shouldn't be trying to prove that you know stuff, because that's what he did there by like saying, oh, do you say this robot voice, right? By like saying it that way because he tried to prove that he knows who Stephen Hawking is. But actually he kind of messed it up and thought that was Ethan, whatever. Don't do that. Just enjoy being dumb, kind of, you know, what's that word called? Bask in it, soak in it, and just live your life, because, you know, we're not all meant to be fucking Stephen Hawking, right? We're all not meant to be super smart. Some of us are meant to be redacted and also get the most out of life, because other redacted people can look at you and say, hey, he did it, right? That's what it should be like. It's kind of like, this is a bad example, but it's kind of similar to like, it's kind of similar when they send sports teams to like children's hospitals and shit. They kind of do them to kind of give the kids, you know, a nice time and give them something, you know, to kind of make them happy and stuff, especially if they're going through crazy, you know, life debilitating flipping illnesses and ailments and stuff and awful things that kids should never have, you know, horrible, get well soon, all those kids in children's hospitals. But usually they do them as a weird motivator for the athletes. Like, hey man, you're 19 years old, you get paid $1 million a week, you're taking this shit for granted. Hey, go to children's hospitals, see what life is actually like on the other side of the tracks. You were lucky you were born with the way you are, the genes that you have, the family that you're in, blah, blah, blah. Now, you know, go see these kids, feel sorry about yourself, and then get out on this pitch and go run. Go and score some goals. Go and flipping, you know, drop some buckets or whatever they call it in fucking basketball. That's what they kind of do. And I think Brendan has that kind of same capacity he serves in culture. People look at him and think, rah, man, if he's that redacted and he's able to get this far, then I can too. That's what it should be like. And you should take pride in that. You should feel like, yes, I did it. Despite being redacted, despite being double-digit IQ, I smashed it. That should be a point of pride. Instead of sitting there trying to like act like you know who the guy is and then make yourself even look even dumber. Personally. But again, maybe I'm the redacted one. Maybe I'm the redacted one. Moving on from that one, let's talk about more redacted news, or kind of redacted news. There's this clip from this podcast I listen to called How Long Gone. One of my favorite podcasts out there. It's a very niche podcast. It kind of operates maybe in the same sort of area that I operate in terms of cultural commentary, but it's hosted by two white guys, Chris Black and Jason Stewart. So they have a very, you know, different perspective on life, and they love indie bands. They say rap music is a bit rusty and, you know, whatever, you know, they have different taste in my eyes, but a lot of the cultural things they speak about, I like and I'm a fan of, and interview some good people. When they, you know, they sometimes have a tendency to interview too many Condé Nast people and media elites, that gets a bit boring. But when they interview actual people who are working and, you know, living life and whatever it may be, they make for some very interesting interviews. The recent interview that they have here with this photographer called Jason Nocito, and if you don't know who Jason Nocito is, he had I kind of know his work briefly from like the early era of like Vice. If you remember, there was a particular style of photography in that Vice era, Terry Richardson era, where it was kind of like direct, sort of like flash to the face. There wasn't a lot of touching up. It was kind of like documentary style of photography. I may actually have an old Vice somewhere here. Do I have it? Yeah. So kind of like maybe kind of this era of Vice, right? Where they had really cool pictures and shit. And it was all kind of weird documentary style of pictures and scene reports. Anyway, Jason Nocito is really cool. Check him out, right? Anyway, he gives an interview with How Long Gone, and I'm going to play this clip for you because I think it is absolutely hilarious. And I think this clip basically, for me, illustrates why I think it's somehow really important in a weird way to maybe grow up with in a family where you're kind of allowed to do what you want. You're kind of a latchkey kid. You can kind of drink early, do drugs early, because I think it obviously can go two paths. You can end up being like a lifelong drug or drink, you know, drug and alcohol addict, or you can go another path and you get that stuff out of your system very early on, so that when you become old and you become a parent, or you just, you know, maybe you're instilling some wisdom into some other young people, you can kind of speak from a point of knowledge. And you can also approach it from a very chill, laissez-faire, relaxed point of view. You're not like all tight about it and, oh my God, can't believe you did that. You're like, no, you know, I smoked this, I did that, I did whatever back then. I know how it feels, but actually it's not the coolest thing to do. After a while, it kind of gets boring. You can kind of address it from a really informed point of view, and the kids would kind of get it. But I do think there's something about being born that way or being brought up that way. And this guy has a ridiculous upbringing. Here when he started taking drugs, this is legitimately blew my mind. I've never heard, and again, I listen to Joey Diaz and stuff, right? And he has some very crazy stories. And this guy sounds even crazier. So this is Jason Nocito on the How Long Gone podcast. This is episode number 483. Hear this.
Were you ever straight edge?
Oh yeah, I was straight edge from 13 to 16, and like before that wasn't straight edge. I got high really young, like I started using when I was like 9 years old.
9 years old.
Started using what? Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, I had a kind of strange upbringing. I have my dad had 9 kids in the end, and like maybe 10.
Okay.
We don't know. And then, but I grew up in sort of a feral situ, like kind of.
Okay.
And my mom worked at a bar, so it was a little bit like there was that kind of situation.
Everything was available.
Exactly, everything was available, and like, and I just landed on something early, and then by the time I was like 13, I had gotten kicked out of middle school and like put into this crazy publicly funded school the guy who was running the school had embezzled all the money. He was embezzling all the money. So you show up to the school, and there was like...
Anyway, you get the gist, right? He started taking drugs at 9 years old. He became straight edge when he was a teenager. Don't get me wrong. Taking drugs and drinking alcohol at 9 is a bit excessive. But I do remember when I was growing up, especially in the scene, there was a couple people. I wish I remember her name, and it escapes me now, but she's very successful. There's this girl that we met in the scene who came about she was kind of new in the scene when I kind of was involved and whatnot. And let's say we were 21, 22 then. She came around and she probably was between the ages of like 15 and 17 or 18. And I remember when she came about, she had a very kind of like mature and grown up, vibe about her. And clearly because, guys kind of liked her also because she looked mature also more than their age. A lot of guys were trying to hook up with her even though she was, between the ages of 15 and flipping 18. I wasn't clearly, so don't get me flipping counsel for that shit. But I remember this girl and she was always very, very mature, very, very, had her kind of head screwed on, and she would party a lot also, but just kind of came about it from a very kind of chill point of view. Then so many years many years after the fact, you look back now, she's living in LA with her partner. She kind of is a very successful photographer, I think, or stylist or something in that kind of world. But from what I last heard, she's sober. And she's way younger than she's younger than I am, right? And she's completely sober. And she probably gave up all that stuff a long time ago. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that, and remember when I spoke to her before, she had parents who like went to Glastonbury, went to other music festivals, were basically hippies, and they essentially let her do what she wanted when she was younger. So she got all that freaky, druggy, drinky shit out of her system very early on. And also being a girl that kind of had to navigate through life by herself, she also became really adept and able and okay to like hang around, because that's something I remember. She was kind of one of the only girls I remember in the scene who seemed to kind of hang around with guys easily. She never really kind of got uncomfortable. She knew how to banter. She knew how to chill, how to turn up, whatever. Just like a chill girl without being overly flipping tomboyish. She kind of really knew how to kind of hang. And a lot of that I kind of would imagine is basically being on your own, having to navigate the streets, quote unquote, right? Figuratively. And having to kind of, make sure you're okay out there. And when you kind of stumble across my little hipster scene of guys with like white socks on, it's not much of a challenge really. You know how to kind of, keep this one over there, keep this one here, arm's length, run away from this one. It's a bit easy to do. So I'm kind of wondering if there's actually some benefit to growing up like that, because on my end, I didn't. I had my first, sip of flipping alcohol when I was maybe 23, maybe. Right? 23, 22, when I first got involved in the scene, really. And even before that, when I actually was in the scene before, I'd go to these parties and these indie nights, and I'd be there in the back drinking my flipping apple juice. Like, I wasn't involved at all, right? Because at that time, I kind of was, I kind of grew up in the kind of super strict sort of like Christian household, and I kind of was believing it myself. So I never really got into the whole drug and drinking thing really until really late. But then I also think I kind of credit drinking and doing drugs really late in life, quote unquote, at like 22 onwards. I kind of also credit that with the fact that I'm not a drug and flipping, booze addict now. I think that's the main reason, because I've got a very addictive personality. So I think if I would have started earlier, I probably would have had more of an addiction. But because I started so late, and because I had so many outside interests, I was running a lot, I was playing sports all the time, I was skating, I never really had time to kind of get fucked up all the time. And especially on top of that, I was also going to church all the time. So there was never a point where I could get fucked up because I had all these obligations. So that made me kind of like, keep on the straight and narrow. But I can't imagine the guy, because I thought I was immature at flipping 20. I can't imagine what I would be like at 9, 13, 15, 16. Like, these guys are out here doing that stuff. So big up Jason Nocito. I think that's another way to flipping live and have some sort of upbringing. But I don't know, man. I think, even Uche is saying in the chat, I'm not going to lie, I'm glad I got all that wild shit out of my system early on instead of late. Exactly. I think there's something to it. There really is something to getting that stuff out of your system early on. Because I feel like I had the taste of that debaucherous lifestyle. I had it at the right time. I think if I would have waited longer, like if I would have had my first sip of alcohol at like 25 or 26, it would have been an issue. But because I had it at 22-ish age, it was just the right time for me to have my like freak out stages of that like 4-year run where I was kind of promoting parties and hanging around in Dalston and Shoreditch and Hackney every single day. That was my little 4 or 5 year run. And then after that, it kind of got boring, it kind of got lame, and then you kind of got over it. And that's the basic about it. I think that's kind of important to have, as opposed to just living under the strict doctrine that you can't do anything. And then when you do something, you kind of go crazy. I'm not too sure. But anyway, big up Chris Burrito. Big up Chris Burrito in the chat. Big up. Nice to see you, my friend. But anyway, who knows, man? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Who knows? Anyway, moving on from that one. Let's talk about this quickly. So I've made a couple, comments and whatever it may be about the DJ scene, about dance music overall, and about some DJs, because I'm a fan of it. And I feel like on podcasts in general, you should be trying to speak about things that you know about, because that's what I think makes for a brilliant podcast. I think when someone gets in front of a microphone or a camera and starts talking about stuff they don't know nothing about, it usually turns into pretty shitty content pretty quickly. And if I'm going to sit here and be rambling into a microphone for hours on end, I probably should know what I'm talking about. And, I feel like I have some decent insights and knowledges about dance music and whatnot, so I just share them. It's it, right? It's not really that deep, really. It is what it is. But I have noticed, depending on who it is I speak about, there's a tendency to either go the other, like one way of like, oh my God, thank you for mentioning me, all this sort of stuff, or the other way to get really angry about it and start sending threatening messages and shit and just being upset. And I don't really understand what that's about. And I think it kind of exists in stand-up also. So that's where the correlation comes in, and I want to make this comment. I wonder if there is a point. I think I'm going to try it. I'm actually going to trial it, and I maybe will upload it on my Patreon just to make the Patreon flipping worthwhile, because my Patreon is fucking barren. So I'm probably going to upload it on the Patreon. I'm wondering in the future if I can try to critically review comedy stand-up specials and DJ mixes, live streams, or what mixes are just released on the labels, whatever it may be. I may do that, because I feel like for some reason, even though there's a huge group of people out there who enjoy this stuff, who listen to it, I feel like for some reason, the artists who create this stuff, the DJs or the comedians who do this stuff, they don't necessarily anticipate people watching that and watching their material and thinking, oh, this could have been improved. I didn't like that. I did like this. I didn't like that. Because when you do comment on it, they get really, really annoyed. They get their niggas in the twist super hard. And I would like to count myself as a creative person. When I do my work, I just put it out there and it just lives on its own accord. I have no control over how it's interpreted, how people respond to it. It just is what it is. And to be honest, it's not really important what anyone thinks of it, because the moment I'm able to get it out of my brain and onto a piece of paper, onto a stream, onto a blog, onto a SoundCloud, whatever it may be, that's my job done as a sort of like creative conduit. Then you just put it out into the masses and hope the masses like it or don't. But you kind of got your expression out there. But for some of these guys and girls, they get really butthurt if you make any comment that isn't like praise, that isn't you getting on your knees and sucking them off. It just turns into like, I hate you, you're a hater, send you this message, I'm angry about this, delete that, like just weirdness. I don't understand it. And maybe it's an ego thing, because I do maintain the only bigger ego than a DJ and a flipping stand-up comedian is probably a podcaster. I know I obviously occupied two of those categories. Uche, flipping reminded me of that once before, but I honestly do think maybe those two, areas are probably unique because of the egos involved. But fucking hell, man. Honestly, some of these people, like, I'm a peon. Some of these clips I'm uploading on my channel get like hundreds of views. Maybe sometimes in the double digits of views, sometimes thousands, but I'm literally speaking into fucking deep space. No one's paying attention to me. I'm small potatoes. Right? I'm tiny chips. I'm the chips that you get at KFC in that little small bag. Not the McDonald's chips in the nice box, right? I'm the little KFC chips. That's what I am, in the little paper bag, the small ones. Sometimes you might get little 3-5 sticks in there. Why does it matter if I get on here and say, hey, your mix was shit. Hey, I went to see you perform at this DJ thing or at this club and I didn't like it. It was dead. It made me bored. Or I watched your stand-up special and it was terrible. To me, I'm a small guy. Who cares what I have to say? But somehow they get butthurt. And again, if you're an artist and you're getting paid and you're touring the world and you get opportunity to kind of do a job that many people out there would love to do, but it's kind of the most, I think probably stand-up and DJing is probably two of the most heavily congested area to try and make it. There is no blueprint. There is no direct route. There is no steps. There is nothing. It's all kind of a wayward way to kind of make it, and everyone makes it in their own time. Some people would never make it. You get a chance to make it. You're touring. You're doing amazing. You get paid to book play places. Why are you bothered? Why I have to say? Why? Please tell me why. It's really odd. I don't understand this. It's so bizarre. Maybe I don't understand because I'm not at their level, and maybe if you had the interactions that they do, you'd understand how difficult it is and how stress it causes. All right, whatever. Maybe that's true, but I honestly think I put out enough shit on my own across all different mediums, whether it comes from photography to art to flipping writing to whatever. I've done it all, right? Maybe it hasn't been successful, whatever it may be, but I've done it all. I've received my fair share of positive and negative comments, and it really doesn't matter. If you're actually a true, somewhat creative, sounds corny, but you get what I mean. You just put it out there. The fact that your job is just putting it out there. How it's received is not in your control, but you just put it out there because that's what you're kind of called to do. You put the work out there. If people like it, they like it. They don't, okay, cool. You just move on to the next. But this whole like, why did you say that? Why did you say that? How dare you? Delete it. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. No, I will not delete it. I don't care what you have to say. I don't. I like that. I didn't like that. Who cares? Who cares? Put something else out that I like. I may like it. I may not. But who cares? You have fucking thousands of people following you all over the fucking country, loving what you're doing. Why does it matter what I fucking say? Come on. I'm sat here sweating. It's not hot in front of fucking IKEA furniture, shouting into a fucking USB microphone. Why should it matter what I fucking say? Wearing fucking Amazon $5 Amazon flipping glasses, and here you are getting annoyed about what I have to say. Who am I? For fuck's sake. Who the fuck am I? God almighty. Grow up. You know who you are. Grow up, man. Grow up. Exactly. It don't matter. We do not matter. Grow up. Anyways, moving on. Oh, just like These guys are legitimately 1%ers. Legit 1%ers. Especially DJs. You're mostly all overpaid. You're mostly all overpaid. We all, especially in a metropolitan city. In a metropolitan city, if you're within the ages of like 25 to 45, you probably know at least 5 DJs yourself who are better than DJs who play in these professional clubs. 5. We all know. We all have friends. You know, some guy here, some girl there who are good, who are great. We know them. Are they playing professionally? No, they're not. They work at some dead-end job. They can't get any play or any bookings anywhere. They hate in life, but it is what it is. The cookie didn't crumble in their favor. These people have the privilege of being paid to play in clubs, playing other people's music. Some of them don't even mix well. Technically, they're shit at what they do. They just get paid to play whatever tune they liked on the road and play in a fucking nightclub. And they also get the benefit, which people like me don't, that I'm playing in these bars and clubs where I'm basically a human flipping jukebox. They get the benefit of playing in nightclubs where people are high on drugs, drinking and shit. They don't care what you play. They let you play whatever the fuck you want. You can go in there and go crazy and be creative and be artistic and have an extended set and do what you want. It's fucking fun. Whereas here I am fucking playing Umbrella by Rihanna in 2023 because somebody asked for it and I have to deliver because guess what? I'm in the service industry. That's what I am. I'm a service industry DJ. And these guys, they get to play these amazing places. They get flown there. They get Uber X there. They have somebody carrying their luggage. Somebody plugging their USB into the CDJ. Somebody taking the headphones and putting it on their heads, right? Somebody jacking them off under the desk as they're DJing probably. And still they complain and they cry. When little old me, little old tiny me, sat in front of IKEA furniture, right? Little old me, with dusty books, sat in front of IKEA furniture, they get annoyed. Why did you say that? Why did you say that? That was mean. Shut up, man. Shut the fuck up. Grow up. Suck it up. God almighty. So annoying. Delete that. Delete your fucking life. Open the window and step out of it. That's what you should do. Delete that. Delete that. Open the window and step out of it. Do that. Delete the video. How dare you? Anyway. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Honestly, man. I'm playing Umbrella. I'm playing fucking Single Ladies by Destiny's Child. Like, I know these tunes off by heart. I'm playing Hey Ya by fucking Outkast. I'm having to play these tunes in 2023 to DJ to get my little £150 that I have to invoice for. I have to invoice for £150. I have to wait 6 weeks to get paid £150 to invoice at a bar that I'm DJing at. And I'm having the greatest time because I get to mix some stuff that I don't like, play some stuff that I do like, but at least I get to play in front of people. And I have to invoice for £150. These guys get paid tens of thousands. They get flown there, hotel stays, groupies, all this stuff. And they get annoyed when I have a comment to make. And it's not even harsh. I'm not even being rude. I'm usually always nice. Oh, why did you say that? Shut up. Grow up. Fucking hell. Hate you, man. No, it's not cash. It's that glass. I wish it was cash. Some of these places, I have to invoice for £150. Don't get me wrong. I started off playing for 50. So it goes up. So I'm sure when I eventually get to like fucking tens of thousands, I'll be like, I should have wired it to me. But fucking hell, 150. A bar can't take that out in petty cash. And some of these places, they give you like a 2 drink tokens. They want you to pay for 4 hours. They pay you 150 via invoice and they give you 2 drink tokens. So you have to pay for your drinks on the day, pay for your transport, pay for your own food, and then you get the money 6 weeks later. Oh, I can't believe they complain, honestly. Life down here, life where I'm at is different. I have to carry my own bags. Yeah, big up Chris, brother. Big up.
Funds for some UGG boots and IKEA furniture.
Big up Chris Britta. Appreciate you for the €5 super chat. Appreciate you. Honestly, man. Wow. I can't believe these people complain. I really can't believe they complain. I honestly can't believe they complain. The life, and that's the thing that always gets me, because I feel like most DJs or most comedians, right? We all start at the same place. Everyone has to play at like an empty bar. Everyone has to play at like an empty comedy club. You have to do an open mic. You have to go and do open decks. You have to put a SoundCloud mix up and get 10 listens, maybe get 0. And then eventually, you know, you do a live stream, you get 10 views. But then eventually, over time, through productions, through collaborations, through whatever, it goes up over time, right? The views go up and shit. But you have to start from somewhere. Like, I played at fucking art gallery events, like private views. I'm there in the corner DJing. Like, what the fuck's a DJ doing there? But I did it. You're there fucking in barbecues. You're there at house parties where there's like one speaker facing your face. Like, it's crazy. Done it all. But we've all done it. It's not unique to me. So that's why I can't understand where these guys, they get to the heights where they're at and then they forget what it's actually like where they come from. And they start getting annoyed and frustrated that somebody may have a different point of view of how they did a certain thing. Or might say, hey, I didn't like the set. Or I didn't like the EP. Or this wasn't that great. Whatever. Just an opinion, a point of view. And imagine, this is one person, me. If you put on a party, most places, minimum capacity is what? 250 people. So 250 people paid hard-earned money, minus all the guests and the fucking VIPs, to come to your event. They loved it. They enjoyed it. One person, me, one guy, comes back and does a video and says, oh, you know, that party wasn't the greatest. I didn't like this one. And then you're getting annoyed. You had 249 patrons that were there, that were happy. And one person said something bad and you're annoyed. Big up Goku. Big up Goku. No message, but I appreciate you, brother. Come on, man. I don't know. Personally, I think maybe because I grew up on the internet, I grew up on forums and stuff. I've been on social media since fucking social media started. It's not even thick skin. I'm beyond like being offended. Nothing offends me. I don't care. I put out what I put out. You like it, you don't like it, cool, whatever. I just keep it going. I don't take it personally. It is what it is. But some of these people, they operate in the social media realm. It's all about the image and shit and the fucking posing. But if you say the pose is shit, and I hit you, block. Fuck you. It's the internet. It's the internet. Anyway, let's move on. Had enough. I'm getting hot and bothered and stuff, and I'm ranting and I'm not making sense. Anyway, let's move on. Next topic to talk about that I think is really, really, yeah, exactly. Yes, Uche, you know, MySpace. You know, my top friends was, I think I had a MySpace. My MySpace actually was like, I think I hit the limit on my MySpace. I think the MySpace limit was like 10,000 or something like that, friends. I hit the limit pretty early on. I had a popping, flipping top friends. I had all the fucking different backgrounds on my page because you could change your page. You know, you could edit it with HTML code or CSS. I forgot which one it was. So I had all that shit going on there. I had all my international friends. I had friends all over the world, in the Asias, in the Americas, right, in the Africas, like everywhere. It was flipping amazing, man. I fucking loved it. Some of these people I'm still friends with now. Big up Kalila. Some of these friends I'm still friends with now at the moment, man. It's pretty cool. All these people from around the world. But anyway, moving on. I'm going to talk about this quickly. This is let's move on to this actually. Let's go to this actually. Let's go here. Let's go here actually. Let's do this. So this is courtesy of Ellen. Oh, yo, big up Lucid Footwear and Clothing for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you also. So, moving on to this topic. This is courtesy of Allien, the legendary DJ, right? Legendary DJ, and just somebody that I feel like comes across really well. Even though most of these people, like I said, these DJs sometimes, they come across well, then you meet them in real life and they end up being cunts. I still have the feeling that Allien is a lovely, lovely person, just because of how long she's been in the scene. She, her age is non, what you call it? Her age is unspecified. She could be 40, she could be 50, she could be 60, she could be 35. You don't know, actually. But she's effervescent. She has that youthful spirit about her, right? She's bubbling on the inside, looking bright, looking sunny, loving life. Look at all the pictures here. Smiling, loving, having fun, smiling, loving, with friends, having a good time. And I think a lot of that comes from her kind of outlook on sort of like dance music and stuff, and constantly kind of surrounding herself with younger people and tapping into what's going on at the moment, and also being open to change and evolving as an artist and blah 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 blah. But one of the sick things that she does are these parties called We Are Not Alone. There's one coming up, actually. I think it's like a 54 hour one happening at the end of April. So if you're in Berlin and you want to check that out, I definitely recommend to go and check it out, especially because it's going to be at RSO, one of my favorite clubs out there in Berlin, which is the new Griesmüller. And it's going to be, in the same day. If you want to go and check that out, I really do recommend you go and check it. And again, a whole list of really cool up and coming and established young DJs playing alongside her for flipping, 54-hour event from April 29th all the way until the 1st of May. Ridiculous and amazing. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was that interview with the amazing Playful Magazine, which I think is the magazine that's now replaced Resident Advisor in terms of featuring and interviewing loads of amazing people within the dance music space. For whatever reason, RA, even though I was brought up on RA, a lot of the RA articles, especially the event reviews, are the reasons why I got this wanderlust or this, exploration bug, this whole techno tourism thing to go and check out all these amazing places and clubs all around the world and connect with different people and follow these artists and blah, 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 blah. It came from RA. But over time, RA kind of fell off, and maybe a lot of it had to do with the fact that they took away the comments and stuff and started to become a little bit of a place where it started to become like a funneling and a platform for like brand deals and all this sort of malarkey. And it kind of got a bit shit, kind of got a bit sanitized, kind of got a bit generic. And now it's essentially just a aggregator of like dance music news that I kind of keep up with. But in terms of really pushing culture and informing people on what's bubbling and what's coming next up, it's not the one. Electronic Beats was for a little bit. That's why they jacked the editor-in-chief of Electronic Beats, and now that person is at RA, but I still haven't seen necessary changes. Playful Mag steps in. I think it's Berlin-based, but essentially it's very, very niche, very core. It kind of focuses on dance music with a very specific, target towards techno. It features loads of stuff about, the whole sex world and kink world stuff, if you're interested in that. It focuses a lot on flipping DJs, the artists, the producers, the people kind of, aside from it as well. And their interviews, I feel like, are really good because they're giving opportunities to some of these artists you don't get to see interviewed on many platforms to go interview there, because a lot of the bigger people are kind of based in Berlin or they pass through there. Allien sat down to Playful Mag and she had some pretty cool things to say, and they clipped up a couple of the clips here on the Instagram, and I'm going to play through a few of them, and I'm going to comment on a couple because some of the comments are hilarious. Like honestly, like dance music fans are legitimately some of the most like redacted fan bases I've seen in my entire life. And redacted, if you know, you know. But this is Allien talking to Playful Mag, just about a whole bevy of topics. So this is the first clip that they uploaded.
I prefer Berlin now than back in the days, because back in the days, what everybody thinks, like, oh, this techno community was so, there was also a sellout more than now, with the Love Rate and Mayday and Low Spirit, chart music, happy core in the charts. So, or trance music in the charts, in the German dance charts. Yeah. And so for me now, how the club design has a standard now. It's on such a high level of clubbing. It's just congratulations all promoters, club owners.
And I think she's right. She's essentially saying the standard of clubbing now is way higher than it was in the past. Maybe everything was localized beforehand when everyone used to say Berlin was the best or that area was the best. Maybe it was a little bit more localized in terms of where the best talent was, where the best parties are. But now because of the internet, now because of low cost, European travel and whatnot, everything's kind of been somewhat commodified in a weird way. Some of it's basically been flattened, and the things that you basically would see in all these kind of far-flung places are now you can see in kind of home turf. Even for myself, I've noticed in the last 5 to 10 years, it's become harder and harder to justify going on trips, weekend trips to Berlin to go and party and stuff. Because for the most part, every DJ that's bubbling over there, who's got a bit of a name around themselves, who's got a pretty decent party going on, in one way, shape or form, they're going to come over to London. Especially in the UK, especially to London. So there's really no need to go all the way out there to go and party when some of the best parties in Europe or in the world take place here in London also. So that also makes it a somewhat of a kind of great thing to do. So now if you want to go and travel, you're kind of traveling just because you want to do it. You're not doing it because you can't hear that particular sound here, especially when you kind of include live streaming and stuff involved in it as well. So I really do agree with what she said here. Next clip.
In Berlin, it's a lot of space still.
Yeah.
You don't have to, people moving to Berlin saying always to me, oh, the rent is so expensive. I said, you know what? You don't have to live in the middle of Berlin. If you want to move to Berlin, you have to be apart from Berlin. You have to build something also in Berlin. So go in another, maybe a bit outside of the center and build something for the city. Make it more beautiful in this area. You can't think you live in the center where everything is, restaurants, everything is settled, that the rent is low. It's not possible in a big city. I mean, this is a dream around Berlin.
So she made a pretty, I thought, sensible comment about people who want to move to Berlin now or any kind of major metropolitan city, and where there's a kind of nice youthful scene bubbling up and people are complaining about the high rents and whatnot and the gentrification. She made a pretty good point. If you're coming here chasing a dream, maybe come here and try and live on the outskirts. You don't have to live in Neukölln. You don't have to live in Kreuzberg, right? You can kind of live on the outskirts a little bit, and maybe you could find some spots there that you could live at where you could also cultivate a scene, because the more of you that move out to these sort of like outskirts bits outside of the main city, you may then create your own little community, and then that community might be like, hey, we don't want to keep traveling inwards to go and party. Let's create our own thing here on the outskirts. And sometimes because you're so out from the city and there's nothing around there, you may be able to get away with far more. And you maybe have people there that you can build with, who are kind of the same stage that you are. It's just a good way to kind of get about doing things. But it makes a lot of sense, especially with me. I've seen it here in London, where the most part it's the same sort of thing. Most of the places kind of outside of the main city centre are where the far more interesting things are happening, but it's just harder to come and back forth with. I've noticed with myself, when I went to Berlin for my weekend trips, I've kind of got into a habit of always kind of staying around the Neukölln area, when now really the last couple of times I've kind of ventured out. It's not really that far, but technically to people that go and travel there for the weekend, staying in places like Wedding is a bit far. But it's nice to kind of go somewhere different and kind of new and fresh and see different surroundings. And that's me going there for a weekend. I think if you're there moving there as a young person, you probably owe it to yourself to try and really kind of push it, test yourself and throw yourself into the deep end and live somewhere that isn't in the heart of the city, and try and make that work. Try and figure that stuff out. And even just figuring out how to get transport to go into the center to go to your job. That's all part of learning how to kind of, blend into the city, get settled, find friends. All those things happen during those commutes and coming back late from home one time. All those things happen at the same sort of time. Anyway, very sensible kind of common sense approach, right? You would think. The comments are hilarious, right? She said that, made that comment, hey, maybe don't think about staying in the same place, right? Let's see the comment here, right, that people are getting annoyed by. This is absolutely amazing to see somebody making such a good, sensible, common sense point like that, and then this person got annoyed and thought that basically Allien was being rude or something, right? So this is it, right? This account. It's called Berliners Mad at Tenants. Or no, Berliners Mad at Rents. So it basically makes sense why they're mad. They said this in reply to what Allien said. Dear Ellen, who is supposed to work in restaurants? The supermarkets. Who is supposed to work in the BSR cleaning? cleaning our public toilets. Are these people also supposed to live outside and travel 3 hours a day to work for a city only the rich can afford? How are clubs supposed to survive with raising rents? As a born and raised Berliner, not able to afford her district anymore, and long fan of yours, I'm disappointed. I have a community and I built something, but I cannot afford the rental market anymore. Wouldn't have expected this take by you. Since you're probably not looking for a flat, why don't you take a look at my account to see the reality for people nowadays? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What does Allien have to do with fucking affordable rent prices or whatever it may be in Berlin, or the housing issue? What can she do for that? What part does she have to play in that? In the slightest. That is an issue you have to raise up with your local council, with your government, with your local officials, whatever it may be, right? But it's not an issue that you'd lay at the feet at a single DJ. This is a widespread gentrification issue that's super, complicated and hard to kind of pass through. But to point that blame at the feet of a DJ is fucking insane. Especially when they're asked, hey, if you're a young person in Berlin, struggling with rent, what should you do? And she's like, hey, as an offer, if you, as a young person, you're coming up as an artist, my advice would be move somewhere a little bit outside of the city with cheaper rent, so you have more money to spend on your art, to get creative, to maybe build a community in that smaller place that you're in, blah, 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 whatever. That's some pretty decent kind of wise advice from somebody that's kind of been there, done that. That makes a lot of sense. And then maybe as well, think about it, as a kind of achievement, it's pretty cool to be like, hey, I used to live in this shitty part of Berlin. It was run down. It was far out. It was around like a countryside where people only have, or anybody there only has children or whatever it may be. And then I got enough money and became successful enough where I was able to kind of move a bit more inward and live in the area that I actually wanted to live into. That's something quite nice to kind of aim for. But to kind of pin the blame on the flipping housing crisis over there in Berlin at a DJ's feet is legitimately insane. And it just speaks to how warped some of these dance music fans are, where they legitimately think like techno or dance music or club culture is some sort of political movement. It's bizarre, to me personally. They really do think it has a lot more kind of influence and sway into like wider issues than it does. It really doesn't, especially outside of Berlin or Germany. Outside of Berlin or Germany, especially London being a good example, gentrification machine is rampant. Whenever there's an area bubbling up, right, with young people, creative people in a really desolate part of town, there's a cool little scene behind it, people are there, they're flooding it, they're adding to the vibe, just know it's a countdown to it getting gentrified. Doesn't matter how much you protest, how much you shout and scream, they're going to build a fucking horrible glass and steel skyscraper, half workspace, half flipping apartment building there. Sooner rather than later. It happens all the time. The gentrification machine just keeps rolling on, and you just have to go and find another place to go and stay that's a bit cheaper, and then that gets gentrified, and you keep going again, and you keep going again. That machine keeps rolling. But Berlin's a bit different. Sometimes, petitions work, protests work. Sometimes they will put a pause on the building and say you can stay there for a little bit of time. Sometimes you can reach a middle ground. Things happen, right? There is some sort of negotiation here. Here in London, especially if there's a bad accident, if somebody gets injured outside of a club, inside of a club, an overdose or whatever, license removed, police shut down the place. It's pretty peak outside of the Berlin bubble. That's a bubble that people live in. Outside of that Berlin bubble, in most places, clubs aren't political spaces. They're not platforms for wider societal change. They're just revenue makers for local flipping constituents. That's all they are. Tax havens for some people. Let's not get into that part of it. But these people put way too much onus on their words, on what this music means to the grand scheme of things. It's legitimately insane. Like, legitimately insane, in my opinion, to get that from what she said. But anyway, continue. More comments from Allien.
I mean, it was after Corona. I played at Third Room in Essen, a warehouse. It was really dark. And on the way to the DJ booth, there was something on the way, something holding the lights, and I fell over. And it was not with lightning. I didn't see it. And to hold myself, I had to jump on my knee, not to fall with my head on the monitoring. So I was in front of Fates Fatal, like this, like a Käfer, like insect falling on the back. Ellen, you have to play it. So time. I'm lying on the floor. I said, I can't screaming. No, I mean, it was after Corona. I played at third room. I'm screaming, ambulance, because I put my trousers up, looking on my knee. I couldn't move it because it was hurting like endless. Looking, and there was one bone here and one bone there. I said, okay, I broke something. So
I wonder what she was on, because they don't tell it in this interview, but if you are walking back to your flipping DJ booth on the way to play, Face Fatale is on there, slaying, you're next up, and you trip over something that you thought was a light, but it was a cable, what were you on? Please tell me. And don't say it was water, because I don't believe you. But tell me what it was on that you mistaked a cable for a light or a light for a cable. Please, someone tell me what you think she was on at that time to think that. And then what did she say? It sounded like she said she went to break her fall on her knee instead of falling on the back of her head, which is a weird option to take, right? You'd rather break your leg than hit your head. I guess that makes sense, right? You'd rather have a broken leg than, suffer some sort of brain injury, right? That makes some sort of sense, but I think there's some parts of the story that she's purposely leaving out there. So big up to the legend. And the last clip here.
Do you have any fears for the scene?
Fears? No. I think important is when you feel fear, maybe you're not active enough. Yeah, when I feel fear, this means you don't move on. Yeah, and if you feel fear, I think you need to do something to help the scene or to be in your community and build something up. Yeah, and as long as we have communities, we run our parties by ourselves, anyways.
And I agree with her. I think that's something that I've kind of been wrestling with myself, because it's clear as day, as much as we like to hate on it and we don't want it, but that whole TikTok ravers scene, that music they're into, whether it's flipping, what's his face? Whether it's SPF DJs, whether it's LSDXOXO, whether it's a Nene H, all these people that a lot of the kind of like chin strokers and a lot of the Berlin fans or Berghain fans, who I'm probably a lot closer to than the TikTok ravers, a lot of those guys and girls don't like that scene of people and think it's too cheesy and too top 40s now music type of vibe. What we can see with our own eyes is that stuff is becoming popular, way more popular than what we'd want it to be. And it's clearly introducing a whole new group of people into the club scene, whole new generation of people into the club scene, and it's changing the sound of what is being played in clubs. And there is a point where you kind of have to like just accept that that's going to be a part of the scene, and maybe find your little pocket that you can exist in, or try and find stuff within that genre that you do like. But resisting it and being kind of obstinate against it and just being really defensive and kind of criticizing just because of what it is and because it's new isn't the greatest way to go about things in general. Because those guys and girls are gonna be here longer than what we are, because they're obviously younger. So there has to be some sort of changing of the guard. And I also think like if you have a little bit of a self-important vibe about you, it maybe is important to also be somebody that can be a point of contact. Maybe you can kind of instill some of your learnings and educations to the younger generation by somewhat being open to what they like and what they listen to. Maybe. Probably not true, probably not open, probably not of an option, whatever. But that maybe is something that people could explore. But I'm definitely trying to open my eyes and ears to that sort of stuff and be like, okay, cool. Let me find stuff that I like, that I'm open to, that I want to listen to. Because there was a point where I was considering going to Possession's festival that they were going to do in Paris. But I think it ended up happening, but Possession ended up kind of falling off the face of the earth. And they haven't really been updating their stuff since 2022. But that whole sound, I was trying to get into it, but I went to a couple of parties, never really liked it. There are some guys I like in the scene that do really well, good stuff in there. And you just need to find the things that you like in it that kind of make sense, because most likely, especially the clubs here in London, there's always a type of event that kind of falls within that range. I'm seeing more and more trance every single week when I look on RA. I'm seeing way more trancey type of DJs and that kind of sound. So clearly it's something that's becoming more and more popular over time, and you just have to kind of get with it, innit? You kind of have to get with it. If you don't get with it, it's going to roll you over, unfortunately. Moving on, and actually this is hilarious news. So it's now been confirmed. It's now been confirmed that Frankie Ocean has dropped out of Coachella completely for the following weekend. Because Coachella, as most of you guys know, it's a 2-weekend affair. Weekend 1 just happened. Weekend 2 is coming up. And Frank Ocean has decided not to perform at weekend 2 as headliner and just bow out after a disastrous first showing. For me, I have to say, I'm kind of surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm kind of surprised. I thought because the first headlining set from Frank Ocean went so badly, he turned up an hour late. He got rid of the ice skaters last minute. He didn't want to live stream. He was barely singing the songs. He had some DJ girl come and play, and she got thrown into the mire. Even though she's a good DJ in her own regard, she got thrown into it, and people didn't want to hear her, and she sounded terrible, or it kind of came across badly. And generally, it was a pretty mediocre show. I thought, again, maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm too optimistic. I honestly did think that Frank would see the response from it, the fact that he's been away for so long, and the fact that for the most part, aside from the critics who generally like to kind of poo-poo on Frank and shit on him because they just don't like or understand his music, or they get, mostly it's because they hate his fans, because with any with any artist who kind of has a very rabid fan base, they can be kind of annoying also, the fan bases. So people usually hate the fan bases of these artists more so than the artists themselves, because Frank hardly says anything, he's hardly around, so there's not much to hate him for. But I think even the people that did hate him, the thing that probably would have hurt him mostly, I think, or I would have thought, would be his fans were the ones that disappointed. His actual fans that love and adore him, the ones that buy all his merch, the ones that buy all his vinyl, the ones that buy all his esoteric, highfalutin, paperweight magazines, right? The ones who buy all that shit, apart from who don't care, he doesn't drop music for ages. All those fans who are saving up all their pennies to buy his overpriced Homer jewelry. All of those people are the ones he disappointed. And I would have thought he would have been like, you know what? I disappointed my actual core fan base. I'm going to make it right. And if he would have done the bare minimum, big up the bare minimum boys, if he would have done the bare minimum and turned up the following week and just sung, imagine, the same set list he done last week, just sung all the songs without doing the whole, flexing and doing the whole Playboy Carti dances on the stage and not flipping singing. If he would have sung all the same songs the second week, no DJ, and he live streamed, everybody would have been on their feet clapping. He would have been getting write-ups on Pitchfork, on flipping Forbes, on Esquire, on Airmail. He would have been getting people throwing flowers at him. It would have been amazing. People would have been like, oh my God, this guy is one of the most creative artists in the world. He is genre defining. He's important, blah, blah, blah. He would have smashed it if he would have just decided, I'm going to sing all the songs, I'm going to get rid of the DJ, and I'm going to live stream. It would have killed it. So the fact that he hasn't done it, the fact that he didn't do the bare minimum means that he fucking hates his fans. Frank Ocean hates his fans. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced he hates his fans. Why do I say that? My theory is, this is a weird theory to say, my theory is, if you're a Frank Ocean fan like I am, you know the history of Frank Ocean. And the history of Frank Ocean is that prior to his moniker Frank Ocean, he went by his actual name, which is Lenny Brooks or Brewer, however you pronounce that surname. And he was in the industry for a long time, songwriting and writing on himself. He never really got any play. Then he created this moniker of Frank Ocean. Then he gets signed to Def Jam. He puts out a mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra, does bits, blah, 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 blah. And, long story short, he goes to do Channel Orange and Blonde. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, from the beginning, he was never really getting any love and shine from the industry. Frank Ocean was always the way that he is now, always incredibly gifted, incredible songwriter, incredible artist overall, incredible voice, but the industry didn't know what to do with him. So I think very early on in Frank's career, he got burned by the music industry. The music industry burned him. And he got pissed off with it, with how, you know, toxic it is, the contracts, the executives who don't know what they're doing or saying, all these people in the industry that kind of make you fall out of love with music because the business of music is so brutal. But then he gets a lucky break where Nostalgia Ultra catches, he drops Channel Orange. 4 years until 5 or 4 years after that, you know, Endless and Blonde comes out together. Then he's off the label. He does that whole finesse thing. But there's always been big chunks of breaks in Frank's career. And I feel like those chunks of breaks were basically representative of his mind state. So my theory is that Frank Ocean got burned by the music industry early on and was over it. Then he got a lucky break and got a record deal and got a fan base and dropped one of the best mixtapes of all time in Nostalgia Ultra. It's actually an album, but let's say it's a mixtape, one of the best ever. Then he becomes this big star. Odd Future, features, whatever it may be, him himself, the tours, the merchandise, the videos, everything's amazing. The artistic vision, top notch. But he actually doesn't love music anymore. He's just going through the motions. But he's one of those guys similar to like an athlete, because we have them in football. We have a player in Arsenal, actually, Ben White. He's a good example of it. He's very gifted at football, very talented. Obviously, he plays for Arsenal. He made it in professional football. It's very hard to make it. But he hates football. He doesn't like training. He doesn't like talking about the game. And most likely, he'll be one of the players who isn't going to start coaching when he retires. He just plays football because he happens to be really gifted at it. That's the only reason. And I think Frank Ocean is the same. He's very talented and gifted at making music, but it's not really his calling. He doesn't want to actually do it, which is why anything that is like the standard thing that artists do, like giving interviews, like updating fans, like doing live shows, going on tours, he doesn't do because he doesn't like it. But then the one thing that you've seen him doing really well and smashing, what has it been? Design. Homer. It's a bit overpriced, but you can't deny the artistic vision, the creative direction behind it, the taste level is top notch. I bet the store probably looks amazing. The magazines, they're, you know, exaggerated paperweights, but the magazines, top notch. The collaboration he did with Prada, those jackets, those anoraks, the quarter zips. I think, have you guys seen it? The Frank Ocean Prada anorak. Top notch. All of this stuff that Frank Ocean has designed outside of flipping music, all this stuff has been top notch, and it's all dropped. It's all released when it's meant to release. It's all sold out. It's all done amazingly well. All of this stuff is the stuff that he actually enjoys. This stuff, right? Homer jewelry. Let's get that stuff up on here so you see what it flipping looks like. This shit, all flipping beautiful. All the stars are wearing it, right? Drake is flipping always head to toe dripping in flipping Homer jewelry. He loves this stuff. This is what Frank Ocean actually enjoys. All of this creative direction, how the product shots, the lifestyle images and lookbooks inside of the flipping, you know, magazines and catalogs. Who do you think is doing it? Frank Ocean's doing all this stuff. He's obviously hiring people to do it, but it's all his creative direction. All of this stuff is his creative direction. This is what he actually loves to do. But when it comes to doing music and standing on the stage and singing, he doesn't like it. I'm convinced of it. This is why we get this version of Frank Ocean. So I'm wondering, right? Why is it that more artists, especially someone like Frank, who got out of his deal with Def Jam in that legendary finesse, one of the greatest finesses of all time, he was able to drop albums out under his own label, reap all the rewards, has a rabid fan base that buys everything that he does, whether it's a t-shirt, jewelry, LPs, magazines, it doesn't matter. They love him. Why do artists like him, who has the ability to be loose and do what he wants, not just come out and say, hey guys, I'm taking a sabbatical? Obviously, you know what's happening with my brother, and RIP to, you know, Frank Ocean's brother and whatnot. I'm still grieving over that. But in general, I just want to take some time away from music and pursue my creative endeavors I'm actually passionate about. Why don't more artists just say that? Because if he would have just said that in the beginning, no one would really kind of bother him as much or care or put high expectation on things. But when you don't say nothing and you're away for like 7 years, then you pop up and you agree to do Coachella. It's within reason that people expect you to pull in a sick performance. You've been away for 7 years. You've accepted one of the most normie, popular festivals in the world. This is not some underground chin stroker boutique festival. This is the most commercial festival there is. There's sponsor booths everywhere. People taking pictures and shit. Bad Bunny's headlining. Blink 182. You have to come and step up. And he didn't. And I feel like he really fucked over his fans in a big way in that regard. And it seems like nowadays, as time goes by, people don't really put up with that shit anymore. You see a lot with Kanye. Towards the end of Kanye's freakouts, people started to give less and less shits. They're like, look, we don't care if you make good music. We don't care if you make cool clothes or you make cool sneakers. You're annoying. And people just get over it very quickly. They're like, you know what? We're over you, man. Allow it. You're too much stress. And I think the same thing's happening with Frank Ocean. People are kind of getting over him a little bit. They're kind of figuring out, you know what? You're a little bit pretentious. A little bit pretentious. You're kind of insufferable. It's a gig. You accepted it a long time ago. It was in the books a while ago. If you weren't in the right mental state to do it, cancel. If it's been a long time since you've done it, come up and put on a good show for your fans. Suck it up and put on a good show. And part of me thinks the whole rationale about his grieving is true, but it's also a convenient excuse. Many artists go on tour, create music, do interviews and do whatever with mad shit going on behind them in their personal life. But if you're a professional, you suck it up and you just go on. You don't do all this stuff, not all this theatrics and nonsense. Because the people you should feel sorry for, or I feel sorry for, are the guys and girls who bought a ticket for the second weekend. This is the ultimate honey dick. You got a crappy performance from Frank Ocean the first weekend, and you probably thought, man, he's probably going to come harder the next weekend. Like I did. Because you bought a ticket, like, man, he's going to come harder next weekend. He's going to really deliver. And then you wake up today, oh no, he cancelled. And they replaced him with Blink 182. Blink 182. They got some good songs. What the fuck do they know about headlining Coachella? No, but you know what I mean? Like, they got some decent songs. But if you're a Frank Ocean fan, there's no way you're going to be happy with Blink 182. There's no way. There's no way. That's not what you want to hear. If fucking Odd Future fans booed Drake off of the stage at one of those Golf Wang Flog Now festivals because they thought Frank Ocean was meant to be performing. They booed Drake off the stage. Imagine Frank Ocean fans being happy with Blink 182. If you're not happy with Drake, you can't be happy with Blink 182. So Frank really fucked over his fans in a big way, man. In a big way. And the honest truth of it is that he doesn't give a shit. And even though his fans are really upset, all it takes is him putting out another album, another live tour video thing or something, and it's all forgiven. But I think in general, for me, it shouldn't matter. But I'm getting to a place now, maybe it was with age. If an artist becomes like insufferable, too pretentious and too up their own ass to kind of follow and keep an eye on and stuff, I get exhausted and I just move on. Quietly. I don't make a fuss about it. I don't say, I'm never going to listen to it again and I break my CD in half. No, I just quietly move on to somebody else. And I think most people are like that nowadays. The kind of, obsessive fandom where you just forgive everything, it doesn't exist as it once did. So I think he's playing with fire in this regard. But I still think, deep down, Frank, he's not really into music like that. I don't think so. I think he's just gifted in music. He was blessed from the gods with a gift to make music, clearly, but it's not really his passion. And it shows in anything he does. Because the last place he wants to be is on stage singing. He fucking hates it. And it's not even like anxiety and shit. You can tell, like, he does not want to be there. He turned up the first weekend in an anorak, some lounge pants and house slippers. And a do-rag. Like, the do-rag you go to bed with. Not even a do-rag to go out with. The bed do-rag. Like, he doesn't care. Anyway, let's read the article to finish it. Frank Ocean will not return to Coachella stage for the festival's second weekend, dropping out after sustaining 2 fractures and a sprain to his left leg. When did he fracture and sprain his left leg? When he was doing the fucking the rolly dance. When he was doing the fucking bust down dance. That's when he flipping sprained his ankle and his flipping leg. Come on, man. This excuse is so lame. If you're gonna be a diva and you're gonna cancel, just cancel for being a diva. Don't make up excuses. I've got fucking what you call it? I've got a headache. I broke my back. Come on, man. In a statement provided by and this is more fun. He provided a statement to TMZ. In a statement provided Wednesday to TMZ, Frank's rep said, after suffering an injury to his leg on the festival grounds in the week leading up to weekend one. So he was in the festival grounds at Coachella doing backflips, doing parkour, doing some movement shit, doing some fucking, you know, some bodily yoga-y type of stuff with like grunt noises and shit, right? And he sprained his leg. Or playing hacky sack, because Frank looks like a hacky sack kind of guy. Doing hacky sack and shit, and then he twisted his ankle or some shit. Come on, man. People have performed with broken legs before. Like, come on. Like, I'm just thinking now, didn't 2 Chainz went on an entire tour in a fucking wheelchair because he broke his leg. He performed an entire tour. He didn't cancel it. He did his entire tour sitting in a fucking wheelchair. Come on, brother. After suffering a leg injury, Frank Ocean was unable to perform the intended show, but was still intent on performing. And in the 72 hours, the show was reworked out of necessity. They continue. On doctor's advice, Frank is not able to perform in the second weekend due to 2 fractures and spraining his leg. It doesn't matter, bruv. Like, he could have legitimately sat or lay down in a bed, like Tim Dillon when he recorded that podcast, in a bed style, and people will be happy with it. Frank tells us it was chaotic. There was some beauty. It wasn't what I intended to show, but I did enjoy being out there, and I'll see you soon. He's not seeing you soon. You will not see Frank Ocean again for another year, minimum. He's gone. Gone. He's going back to his fucking New York studio, his bungalow apartment, or whatever amazing place that he has with great furniture, drawing amazing pieces of art, chilling out with Omar, Apollo, you know, watching cool shit, taking pictures of each other. Like, he's not going to be seen for a while. TMZ broke the story. Ocean allegedly hurt his ankle on the festival grounds leading up to the show, causing some last minute changes. So it appears things were very much as initially thought. And there's some people there. Oh shit, is that G-Eazy? Wow, G-Eazy looks very different, isn't it? Let's see some pictures actually. So anyway, Frank is gone. He's not performing anymore. It's over. Let's see the pictures of people there. Jenna Ortega. Don't you find it interesting as well, by the way? Have you guys seen how different some of these people look when they're like in like real life outside under like the sun and shit? When they don't have, you know, filters, you know, like they look very different, don't they? Like these celebrities. Very, very different. Jenna Ortega sitting down on the floor here looking cool. You got Bella Thorne looking very yassified in the face. Right? Looks like there's some, but hey, do what you're doing. Very yassified in the face. If you know, you know. You got someone called Olivia O'Brien. I don't know who that is. You got another, oh my God, look at that. Oh my God. Never take off your hat. Is that the guy that does a podcast with Logan Paul? Never take off your hat. Wow. You know, some dudes have like hat head. Not because they're bald, just that they have a head that looks good in hats. Like, I have a head that looks good sometimes without a hat. Some people have a head that looks good with a hat. So if that's the case, never take the hat off. Sleep with your hat, shower with your hat, run with your hat, fuck with your hat, but never take it off. But yeah, that's the other guy that nearly died because of who? Shane Dawson or someone. Who nearly killed him? This YouTuber is always crying, you nearly killed me. But you didn't die, innit? You didn't. So stop crying. Like, well, I don't know who nearly killed him, but someone killed this YouTuber. He's always crying about it. But he didn't die. So if you didn't die, just shut the fuck up. But hey, what do I know? You got another person called Claudia Suluski, and who's this person? Phineas. I don't know who Phineas is. You got a person called May Pang. I'm going to keep my comments to myself. You've got another person called Alaya Chanel Scott and Renee Rapp. Another person called Elui, who? Leah Elui, however you say that. You got another person here called Anna Godwin, Paige Taylor. Yo, are the dresses again? I'm a man. I'm a hetero straight male, so I probably don't have any opinion here. But am I the only person that thinks all of these outfits are giving sheen? Don't get me wrong. If I'm Paige Taylor, whoever this girl is, and I'm getting paid to go to Coachella, if you're not dressing me a big brand, I'm ordering my outfit from Shein. And whatever appearance fee that I'm pocketing it. I'm not spending any more money than I have to be here. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. I'm getting my pictures off. I'm wearing my Shein outfit. And then when I go home, I'm binning it. I'm throwing it in the ocean. It's going to choke some turtle, but it is what it is. But am I the only person that thinks all these dresses look very cheap? Unless they wanted, like, I don't know if they are designer, but all these girls' outfits look very, very, like, cheap. Or is it me? I don't know. Maybe it's me. They look very, very sheeny. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, if I'm an influencer, I'm wearing Shein every day. Unless you're paying me. I'm not spending any money on clothes. Literally. This person's... Is he out there with his mum? Or is this his girlfriend? Is that his mum or girlfriend? I don't know. It's giving mummy. It's giving girlfriend. I'm not even sure. Corva, Anon, and Alex Warren. If it's mum and son, cool. If it's girlfriend and boyfriend, I guess cool. Jake Clark. Dixie D'Amelio. Oh, she looks cool. That's a nice outfit. I like this. Very 90s, early 2000s vibe. Maybe get rid of the studded belt, but I love the baggy jeans. The midriff showing with the t-shirt. I like this. This is actually one of my favorite looks. She looks good there. Big up Dixie D'Amelio. Who's this? Alexandria Ambrosia, the model. Looking like a proper mum in it. That's very much mum vibe. That's like wino mum. You know? Couple of white wines. Couple of gin martinis and shit, right? That's mummy vibes for sure, but she's enjoying herself, so all that matters. Georgia Hasarati and Cara Delevingne. Oh, 3 months sober, Cara Delevingne, eh? Let's give her an award. Fuck off. Who else you got here? Simi. Oh, this is the Weeknd's girlfriend. Yeah, Simi Kadara. How do you say her name? Kadra. Simi Kadra. Weeknd's done well for himself, mate. Big up the Weeknd, eh? Big up the Weeknd, eh? Big up the Weeknd. BLM. Dylan Barber, whoever that is. Olivia Kuplo. Oof, those boots are going to be sweaty, innit? These like fire-high denim boots aren't the best option if you're going to a festival under the sun. You'd imagine, no? You're going to be sweating so much. But big up her regardless. Cassie Bonstrat, I don't know who that is. Amelia Gray, I'm not too sure who this Eva is. But she looks very fit. Big up that arm. Loads of Pilates in there. Oh, Sweetie. Aye! Sweetie's there looking absolutely fab, of course. The two guys in the back thinking, Jesus Christ. I don't know what to do with all those yams, mate. What did I do with all those yams? Hey? Sweetie's out here looking absolutely thicker than the Snickers. Jesus Christos. When you wear these little things as belts, like these kind of like, you know, plasticky bracelet things as belts, that's when you know you're snatched, right? When you can wear a bracelet as a belt, that's when you know you look good. Oh, shit. Tyler, the Creator, big up him. Ledge, someone called Kyla Rickcart. I don't know who that is. Big up her. She's a nice outfit. Again, it's giving a bit of sheen, but that's a nice one. Bebe Rexha, looking thicker than a Snickers also. Big up her. Glorilla looking pretty cool there. I like Glorilla's outfit. Glorilla's got a good outfit. That's a good outfit. That's a very cozy festival outfit. I like this. All camo with some Tom Ford. Oh, I didn't know Tom Ford make Tom Bobs like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this. This Glorilla look is absolutely banging. She looks great, to be fair. Big up Glorilla. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's a crack in the back. There's a crack in the back. Let's continue. Someone called Deli Belly. I don't know who that is. Delilia Belly. Mingli Simmons. Don't know who that is either. I'm so unfamiliar with these people. Oh, look. Shrey Schmeder with a Sweetie. Looking good. Devin Carlson. Don't know who that is. Oh, James Charles. Yay. The legend, James Charles. Looking good, brother. I want to see the BBL, though. No homo. I want to see the BBL. Oh, yes, homo, actually. I want to see the BBL. Let me see the BBL. Let me see what that man did. What work did he do on you? And as well, big up James Charles. He hasn't changed his haircut in like 10 years, isn't it? He's been sticking with this like mohawk thing for ages, isn't it? This like faux mohawk mullet thing. Like no mullet at the back, but mullet in the front. He loves his trim. He doesn't change it in the slightest. But yeah, big up James Charles. We need to see that BBL, brother. Let us see that BBL. We got Christina Schulman. Another Lexa Hessener. Madison Pettis. All of these names are very like, these are trust fund names, isn't it? This is when your parents are like loaded and you get a fucking 50k allowance per week. Madison Pettis, Lexi Hensler. These are all people that go to like international schools. You meet them in like an international school in like Austria or Switzerland, right? Or like Argentina, but they don't speak Spanish. Like those are the types. Like this is the vibe, man. International students. Like look at that smile. That's only a smile from a kid who knows that your bank card's never gonna decline. That's the smile of a kid that knows my card is never declining. That's a never declining card. You know, you don't even look at the prices. You just eat when you're hungry. You eat when you're cold. You buy new clothes. You know, that's the vibe. Like that is the vibe. That's the vibe of the person where when you're booking an apartment or Airbnb, wherever the first option is, you just click it. You don't even look for the cheapest one. You just click it. You don't even move the barometer to see the price. You just click the first link. That's the vibe. Look at that smile. That's carefree. That is living life. You know, that's just like pure happy. Like, look at that glow. That's the glow of like, daddy and mommy, you've got it. I'm fine. I would love that, honestly. One thing I would love if I could come back in another life, I'd love to come back as just a rich kid. You just start on fucking, you just start on third base for the moment you're born. Look at fucking Rihanna's kid. You seen Rihanna's kid? An A$AP Rocky kid? You see how much that kid's smiling? That kid knows he's rich. That's that smile. He knows he's rich from birth. Anyway, continue. Someone called Olivia Pontoon. Someone called Paige Taylor. There's a lot of like cowboy shit going on at Coachella, isn't it? What's the cowboy vibe? It's in LA. It's not in Austin or Texas. What's the slutty cowboy cowgirl thing going on? What's happening? Why is everyone dressing like a slutty cowboy cowgirl? I don't know. I like the boots though. Sophia Villaroli and Edwin Roman. I wish I knew who these people were. Honestly, they look really cool, but I don't know. This is another cool outfit. I don't know. To be fair, I'm gonna say it's not cool. You can't go to Coachella wearing fucking Solomons. I'm sorry, you can't. Like you have to put your Solomons or whatever in a bin or put them on ice. You can't be wearing gazelles and shit to a festival. Like, you know, try something. Have a little bit of an outfit on. But your regular schmegular day-to-day kicks, no Air Force Ones, no Solomons, no Vans. Spruce up a little bit. Try something different. That's a little bit of a boring look, to be fair. A little bit lazy. Come on, Sophia. Whoever you are. Come on. Second weekend coming up. Someone called Toadie Smith. Cute baby. Someone called Zayn Hajazi. Or same baby, I think. Or maybe they're twins. Who knows? Someone called Sarah. Again, why are these girls wearing thigh-high boots and cowboy boots? What's happening this trend? Everyone's wearing cowboy shit. Space cowboy, slightly cowgirl. Huh. Sarah Talaby and Leah Marie Talaby. Look at these faces. You're not telling me this is giving trust fund. Imagine being a trust fund twin. Oh, that's beauty. You get to have a sibling you can share it with, and you're both rich. Oh, you're never bored, and you have all the money. Some people have it all, man. Some people have it all. Baby Rose. Oh, yes, one of my favorites. Please, if you haven't, please check out Baby Rose's album. What's the album that I have here on my flipping phone? Oh my God. She's so good. She's so fucking good. Please, if you haven't heard before, please check out Baby Rose. What do I have? Yeah, To Myself. It's this album called To Myself. Please check it out if you haven't already. This one there. To Myself. It's already on Apple Tunes. Please check it out. It's amazing. She's one of the best R&B singers. Very underrated. So really check her out. Baby Rose, love and appreciate you. You look amazing. Someone called James Henry. Day 2 pictures. More, I don't know, Janelle Monáe. Tiana Taylor looks amazing. Camila Cabello, I'm not really a big fan of. To be fair, I've never liked what she... to be fair, you know what I don't like about Camila Cabello? The hair. She never fucking changes the hair. She has the same head of hair since like 5 years. She's kind of got that Beyonce thing. Beyonce loves that curl thing and never changes it. Same with Camila Cabello. She got hair like a fucking, you know, like it comes out from all over the place, but it never changes. Like cut it into a bob, put it into a ponytail. Like, come on, do something. Like, come on, girl, come on. Moving on here. Anderson .Paak and Domi. Fucking Anderson .Paak. Like, I'd love to party with Anderson .Paak, mate. I'd love to rack up some lines with Anderson .Paak. He will be fun to hang out with. I've got a feeling. Racking up some lines with Anderson .Paak and fucking Kai Cenat. Oh, that would be vibes. That would be vibes. I'd be all over it, I swear to God. I would be all over it. Glorilla again. Jeremy Weeks. Oh, that's the model guy, right? The one that was in prison and everyone was fussing over. Big up him. And Shanae Shay. Okay, cool. Okay. Bella, okay, cool. No more. I'm bored now, but yeah, you get the gist. Everybody was out there looking great. Big up TMZ. Big up everybody who went to Coachella. And then we got one more to talk about, I think, I want to speak about, which is, where can I find it here? Let's mention, where is it? Yeah, let's do this. So, it was the Fear of God show recently at the Hollywood Bowl. The first real life in IRL Fear of God fashion show from Jerry Lorenzo. And he debuted the new Fear of God Adidas basketball collaboration. So they signed it's a very interesting approach. So obviously Jerry Lorenzo was with Nike for a bit. Then I guess a contract ran out. They didn't re-sign him for some reason, even though I think his shoes at Nike were really good. And then he decided to then link up with Adidas, but not under the Adidas Originals banner or the Adidas main line, but Adidas basketball. So it's a performance-related product. So it's not lifestyle, which, you know, technically all lifestyle is performance anyway, but this is like, you know, footwear and clothing specifically made for, you know, under the kind of Adidas basketball banner. So it's going to have a lot of stuff that you would imagine will be somewhat technical and, you know, hold up in the rigors of basketball. So the shoes have now debuted. We've now seen what the shoes are. And these are what the shoes look like, the final shoes. Not the leaked images that we saw, but the final ones. And to me, although they look pretty decent, they do look a lot like the Nikes that Jerry Lorenzo did at Nike. Jerry Lorenzo did at Nike, the last ones before he left. And they also do look very similar to some Y3 Adidases, right? Yohji Yamamoto Adidas designs. They kind of look like a hybrid of like the shoe that he did at Nike last, and then of course any kind of Adidas Y3 in terms of aesthetic overall. So if you're not watching this, essentially you've got this really nice sock upper with these really big stripes in this sort of like plastic material, which I'm assuming acts as like a cage with the laces to kind of keep the forefoot kind of leaped in. You got this kind of neoprene sock design at the top to kind of keep your foot placed, and then you've got this really nice thick translucent sole, which isn't super thick. It looks thicker than what it is because it's essentially a somewhat vulcanized sole so that your actual foot is around here, but then they've made it look thicker because the actual whole midsole unit kind of, you know, creeps over the actual line, the bottom line of where your foot sits, because your foot's going to actually sit here. That's where the actual line is. So it's kind of vulcanized, but then it's a bit extra added and it kind of looks thicker than it is. And then you've got this nice kind of like gray knit material on the front, the same material in the main body. And then you've got this sock liner here with no tongue. And then you've got some extra fastens here with the pull strings and the added laces that I'm sure if you pull them, that kind of acts like a cage. It kind of pulls your foot in. So they look decent enough, don't get me wrong. But considering all the fuss that Jerry Lorenzo was making about kind of saying the samples that came out earlier weren't the same. But if we check them, right, the Jerry Lorenzo Adidas samples or leak, I don't think they look that dissimilar than the leak. They look kind of similar, to be fair. He said it wasn't the same shoe and it's not the same one, but they look very similar. And even the logo at the front is the same logo he tattooed or had put on his neck in part of the promo pictures when he signed up to Adidas. So these and this shoe here, I think they look very similar. So the fact that he made such a big stink about, no, they're not the same shoe, that shoe that leaked is not the shoe that I'm putting out, they're pretty much in the same ballpark. Yes, of course, they're different overall in terms of the design, but overall, in terms of aesthetic, they look kind of similar. They both have the same, vulcanized type of like translucent sole. It's the same sort of color blocking on the top with the black and the cream. This has got the black and sort of like a gray type of colorway. The neoprene upper vibe. This particular shoe has like more of a prominent tongue that you can see there. But they look very, 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 very similar, in my opinion, in terms of the shoe. I think so. They look very, very similar. But regardless, that's what they look like. The Adidas basketball shoe is meant to be coming out. And that's them in another colorway. And there's another shoe here also that he's made. I'm not too sure if this is a Jerry Lorenzo. No, it looks like Adidas also. So maybe this is another model. There's two models here. There's this model that's going to be coming out soon, I'm assuming. And then there's a model here at the back that is more of a traditional runner with, and again, a thicker sole that I actually like to look at probably a lot better. I probably like these in the back better than I like the ones in the foreground, actually, in terms of a look. But yeah, Jerry Lorenzo did a fashion show. So far, we haven't got any pictures for it. Let me actually check the Vogue magazine app. But the last time I checked the app, there was no actual pictures for the actual clothing, which is strange. He didn't live stream it. Oh, it's available now on Vogue. Amazing. It's cool. We can check it out on Vogue live in the show. So it's available on Vogue, but a few celebrities were there. Here's a picture. Whoop, I have to get rid of that on the screen because it's got titties. But here's a picture of Kanye with his wife, Bianca Censori or Censori, in the back, putting on their outfit. They've got this really cool mesh type design thing on top of them. It looks like pantyhose. It could be something else all over. Bianca's covered head to toe in it. Kanye's got the mask all over his face, obscuring his face. I much like that a lot. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually surprised, to be honest, in this era of paparazzi and invasion of privacy and stuff, that more celebrities don't go out with stuff like this on their face. Do you think it's shyness? Why don't more celebrities wear these masks on their face? Especially someone like Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio clearly hates having his picture taken. He's always got his hat super low down, his glasses on, he puts his jacket over his face. Why doesn't he just wear one of these masks? Why? I don't understand why he basically doesn't do that. Because if I was a celeb and I wanted to live a somewhat regular life and go out and about, that's what I would do. I would never take my face mask off. I just have it on the whole time, have a hat on, and just keep. I know people would recognize you anyway, but that would be a better way to live than having to, fake hide your face when you call the paparazzi on yourself. But anyway, that's them getting dressed, look amazing. Obviously, you can't, show too much of it because the boobies and titties are out. I don't want to get banned. But they looked amazing there. That's them vibing. Kanye got some new shoes on. I want to see those. And there's another video here of Kanye at the show vibing. Wearing a mask. I like the hood. Also, another thing to mention, right? This is something, again, maybe I'm a fan, I'm too much of a geek in this sort of vibe. I really do like Kanye's aesthetic when it comes to hoods. He has a particular type of design on hoods that I love. And you know what it is? My favorite hood shape. Ku Klux Klan. KKK. That pointy hood design is something that I've always loved on hoods, and used to get them before on like Champion hoodies, but they didn't kind of remove them. And the only place that you get that kind of really big pointy design is Old Bape hoodies. They had that pointy cone shape on the hood. Yeezy hoodies and Vetements hoodies. Those are the hoodies that you get with the cone shape, that kind of KKK, Ku Klux Klan pointed shape. And Kanye does a good job of them. Like, look at the shape of that hood. Nice and big, and usually I like them because it fits my fucking hair in, and it just looks intimidating. It kind of obscures your face. It makes you look crazy and shit as you're running behind, white ladies walking down an alleyway. Like, I fucking love it. But anyway, this is it. Kanye at the show. Kanye's wife, look at that. Look at mum and dad at the show, chilling, having fun, right? Mum and dad at the show, completely covered head to toe, right? I think because it's Ramadan or something, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, let's continue. More images of Kanye there. Now without the mask. Going crazy. We love that. We love to see him happy and having fun. Set design at the actual show looks pretty cool, right? It's giving Scientology, the stage design. I'm not gonna lie, especially considering Jerry Lorenzo is a proper hardcore Christian. This is kind of giving indoctrination. It kind of feels like you have to go up there and give your life to Christ or get baptized somewhere along the way. But I'm liking it regardless. We continue. There's more images here. This is giving early Yeezy vibe when he did the show at the Madison Square Garden with like Ian Connor and Young Thug back in the day. It kind of gives a similar sort of vibe. Oh, nice hip hop and Tupac there playing in the background. I'm not going to play it. I don't want to get copyright striked. We continue. There's a video here. Oh, look, there's a video of Kanye West actually, head to toe, covered with his bride, saying hi to flipping Jerry Lorenzo in the back. So clearly, Jerry Lorenzo hasn't cancelled Kanye, even though Kanye trashed, Tremaine and made that whole flipping tremendous account and was going after fucking everyone in streetwear and stuff. It looks like Jerry Lorenzo is probably one of the only true friends that's standing next to him. Him and maybe Matthew Williams. I think Aaron Preston maybe doesn't talk to him anymore, but Jerry Lorenzo is clearly still friends with Ye. He still loves the guy. Oh, Kanye looks cool, bro. I love the outfit. I'm not gonna lie. I love the outfit. He's got this bomber jacket on that looks like new season Yeezy. The hood on the jacket is great, isn't it? Look at that hood design. It kind of is seamless into the body. I don't know how it kind of fastens on the front to make you have that shape, but it looks fucking great. And then he's got some sort of necklace thing around him. Maybe it's like a pass or something underneath it. Some cool gloves he's wearing. And then he has some weird slipper things on. I'm not sure if that's new Yeezy either. He's got these slipper type things on at the bottom. Let's see if I can find them on this clip. These like slipper things. I'm sure someone's got them from the account. But yeah, they look like these slipper type shoes. There, he's wearing, which look cool as well. Yeah, exactly. People saying airport look. That is me at the airport. That's what I wear when I go to the airport. I'm always in all black like that, mate. All black, head to toe, Vetements. Big up Demna. Jerry looking good, feeling happy. Another clip of the show. Let's go to Vogue Runway actually and check it. I just had to see what the actual show looks like, the clothing and shit. The shoes I'm not that impressed by. Okay, cool. H&M Mugler, I can probably check out the next show, but let's see what this new Fear of God Adidas stuff looks like anyway. How many looks are they giving us? I'm going to say Jerry Lorenzo probably gave us more than 50 looks. I'm guessing more than 50 because he does love, different flipping colors of the same overcoat. So let's see. I'm saying 50. But maybe it's going to be less. Let's see what it says when it loads. How many looks do we get here? Let's view slideshow. How many you give us? I say 50. What's the final number? 60. Fucking hell. 60 looks. Okay, we're not going to go through the whole thing. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do it on the main page. That's a cool cheat way to go about it. Let's scroll down. There's full collection. You do click load more and it loads all of them up like this. So you can just quickly scan through them. But 60 of these looks is, oh my God, stop doing that. Let's go back again. 60 is too much, man. Too much of the same cream, black and beige type of shit. But let's check it anyway. Anyway, let's see. It's loading there. Let's click load more. Cool. There we go. So let's see what we're doing. We're looking with in shapes. What you'd expect from Jerry Lorenzo, to be honest. It looks a little bit like Zegna, the collaboration that he did beforehand. Nice boxy shapes with a sprinkling of tailoring here and there to make them look all chic. Some nice silhouettes. Everything looks very cozy and comfy. But I want to see the Adidas basketball stuff. Let's see where that is in this collection. The casting looks awesome as per usual. Like this kid here looks great in this outfit. I love that. Look number 25. But I want to see the Adidas basketball. Ooh, I also love this as well. This is really lovely. Look number 30. I wear the fuck out of that outfit. But let me see the Adidas basketball stuff. Where are you? Adidas basketball. There we go. We got some Adidas stuff here with those shorts. I think. Maybe Adidas stuff here with those pants there. Maybe some stuff there with those track pants. But I can't find anything specific that is Adidas. Where is it? Maybe it's towards the end. Not this stuff here. Look 45 onwards not. These leather looks are really nice. It's kind of giving his own version of Yeezy a little bit in here. The gloves are really cool. I love some of the pants here. There's that Supreme guy. Cool. Big up him. Where's Adidas basketball shit? I don't see it. Okay, maybe Pusha T's wearing the whole look. That Pusha T looks pretty cool. Alton Mason, he looks really nice in this outfit. But yeah, okay. I don't know. It looks okay. bit underwhelming on first look, but I'll probably have to give it a detailed look later on and kind of have a deep dive. But it does look a little bit underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. Looks a little bit underwhelming from what I can see so far. But we'll have to check it out later and see if it is as underwhelming as I think it is, because I don't want to waste too much of your time. Anyways, the time is now shifting. Time is now gone. It's now getting dark here, which means I have to go on and do the stuff that I need to do in my life to kind of get it nice and centered and shit. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. This was the Agostinho Zinga Show live stream and podcast. If you've enjoyed it, hopefully you have, let me know. That'll be greatly appreciated. I've changed up some stuff here on the live stream. I've added some borders here. I've moved stuff around, added some little social media graphics, some banners and whatnot, just to kind of spruce it up a little bit, right? So hopefully that should work. And the chat now is somewhat permanent because I've, basically added the YouTube chat into the screen, so it's not as, as it was before, because the other thing kept crashing. So it should be working as intended now. So hopefully that's good. And my computer's kind of in a better space now. So I've got the settings where it needs to be. I'm not going to change anything, go crazy. So everything should be pretty decent. But anyway, all of that to say, thank you for the stream chat, for hanging in there with me. I appreciate every single one of you that's been tuning in. I really, really do. Big up all of you guys out there. It's been an absolute blast. I've enjoyed every single bloody minute of it, and I hope you have too. If you have enjoyed it, do me a favor and smash that like button for me. Greatly appreciated. If you haven't enjoyed it, then hopefully I can earn your like next stream. Hopefully I can earn your like next stream. I sound like the fucking quartering, innit? Hopefully I can earn your subscription in your shut up. Anyway, next time, actually, that's what I was gonna say. Before I end, I'm so bad at ending podcasts. But before I end, I'm gonna be back with the random show later on tonight. So if you're around tonight, tune into the random show, and we'll be going through a couple of bits and pieces. Not that much because it's been a bit dead on the comedy scene. But if you want comedy stuff, I'll be streaming later on again tonight. So definitely tune in. But for now, this was the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 667. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Big up the stream chat. Appreciate every single one of you. It's been absolutely amazing. I feel ya. The vibes are here. And I'll see you guys again. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Oh, actually, what's that question? Yes, Chris, I have one. Check the description, brother. The Discord link is in the description. It's in the description. Check there. It should be there. If the link doesn't work, let me know and I'll update it, but the link should be on there. But yeah, thank you so much to you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. And I'll see you all guys again very, very soon. Thank you so much. Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 667. If you listen to the audio podcast, you'll hear my tune of the day. If you're not listening to the audio podcast, it will just fade to black and you won't hear anything. But for now, I bid you guys farewell. Take care. Peace.